రామానుజదయాపాత్రం జ్ఞానవైరాగ్యభూషణం శ్రీమద్వేంకటనాథార్యం వందే వేదాంతదేశికం లక్ష్మీనాథసమారంభాం నాథయామునమధ్యమాం అస్మదాచార్యపర్యంతాం వందే గురుపరంపరాం యో నిత్యమచ్యుతపదాంబుజయుగ్మరుక్మవ్యామోహతస్తదితరాణి తృణాయ మేనే అస్మద్గురోర్భగవతోస్య దయైకసింధోః రామానుజస్య చరణౌ శరణం ప్రపద్యే. మాతాపితా యువతయస్తనయా విభూతిః సర్వం యదేవ నియమేన మదన్వయానాం ఆద్యస్య నః కులపతేర్వకుళాభిరామం శ్రీమత్తదంఘ్రియుగళం ప్రణమామి మూర్ధ్నా. భూతం సరశ్చ మహదాహ్వయ భట్టనాథ శ్రీభక్తిసార కులశేఖర యోగివాహాన్ భక్తాంగ్రిరేణు పరకాల యతీంద్రమిశ్రాన్ శ్రీమత్ పరాంకుశమునిం ప్రణతోస్మి నిత్యం. నారాయణం నమస్కృత్య నరం చైవ నరోత్తమం దేవీం సరస్వతీం వ్యాసం తతో జయం ఉదీరయేత్. వ్యాసం వసిష్ఠనప్తారం శక్తేః పౌత్రం అకల్మషం పరాశరాత్మజం వందే శుకతాతం తపోనిధిం. వ్యాసాయ విష్ణురూపాయ వ్యాసరూపాయ విష్ణవే నమో వై బ్రహ్మనిధయే వాసిష్ఠాయ నమో నమః. అచతుర్వదనోర్బ్రహ్మా ద్విబాహురపరో హరిః అఫాలలోచనశంభుః భగవాన్ బాదరాయణః. పారాశర్యవచస్సుధాం సుమనసః దుగ్ధాబ్ది మధ్యోద్ధృతాం సంసారాగ్ని విదీపన వ్యపగత ప్రాణాత్మ సంజీవనీం పూర్వాచార్య సురక్షితాం బహుమతిం వ్యాఘాత దూరస్థితాం ఆనీతాం తు నిజాక్షరైః సుమనసః భౌమాః పిబంత్వన్వహం. నిగమకల్పతరోః గలితం ఫలం శుకముఖాత్ అమృతద్రవ సంయుతం పిబత భాగవత రసమాలయం ముహురహో రసికాః భువి భావుకాః. Namaskaram to all the Astikas, the Bhagavatas who are present on a wonderful Wednesday evening in this beautiful city of Sydney, in the short series of 2-day lectures organized by the Sydney Goda Goshti Andal group. Yesterday, I had the Saubhagyam to present Dashavataram. Of course, many did say that I should have gone deeper into each of the avatarams. I was cognizant of the fact that I had to send you all home and that you all had a mundane duty, which is to sleep. So, in the given time duration of 2 hours, that is the best that a primitive mortal like me I could attempt. That said, the topic chosen for today is Bhishma Stuti. At the commencement, I did recite verses from the Dhyana Shlokam pertaining to Vyasacharya. One interesting Dhyana Shlokam goes like this: Achatur vadanor brahma dvibahur aparo harihi aphala lochana shambhu bhagavan badarayanaha. Badarayana, who is Vedavyasa, also known earlier as Krishna Dvaipayana. In Vishnu Puranam we have got a shlokam: Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Vidhinarayanam Prabhum Kohyanyo Bhuvi Maitreya Mahabharata Krit Bhavet. The father Parashara ends up praising the greatness of his son Krishna Dvaipayana. Since he was born in an island, Dvipam, he was called Dvaipayana. The Dvipa was formed in the fresh waters of Yamuna river. So he was born on a Dvipa, so he was called Krishna Dvaipayana. He was dark complexioned, so he was called Krishna Dvaipayana. Later he took up the Herculean task on himself to bucket the mantras as per the way they've been composed. Those hymns which were in the poetry format, he grouped them as riks. So that grouping is called Rig Vedam. Those large portions of the Rig Vedam which were capable to be sung, which made themselves eligible enough to be sung, those became Samam. So that is Samavedam. there is this portion in the Vedas which is in the prose form. That became the Yajurvedam. Parts of each of these Vedas, Rig, Yajuhu, Samam, was taken together and compiled, and that became the Atharvana Vedam. But what Vyasacharya did was to just not compile the Veda Vakyams. So Vyasa Shabdam means to categorize. He did categorize the Veda. So he acquired the name Veda Vyasa from his previous name Krishna Dvaipayana. Besides this, he also gave the quintessence of the first four Vedas in the form of the fifth called Mahabharatam. Bharatav Panchamo Veda. So Veda Vyasa did something that we human beings can't even think of, fathom. So when he did this task of creating granthams, compiling granthams, some of our acharyas said that he did the task of Brahma. Brahma is generally known to be the creator, the intermediate creator. So creator creates. Here is Brahma in the form of Vyasa who compiled and created granthams. But Brahma has four heads, Vyasa has one. So the shloka says, Vyasa is equal to Brahma minus three heads. Achatur Vadanor Brahma is Brahma minus three heads. With the teachings and the learnings from his granthas, we are able to lead and sustain our lives in a civilized fashion, in a better fashion. Sustenance is the duty of Narayana. Narayana has four hands, Vyasa has two. So Vyasa is Narayana minus two hands. With the reading of Vyasa Granthas, we are able to recognize the papams that we have committed, and we can also find solutions to annihilate these sins. So annihilation, destruction, dissolution is the duty of Mahadeva, Rudra. Rudra has three eyes, Vyasa has two. So Vyasa is Shiva minus one eye. So Vyasa is Brahma minus three heads. Vishnu minus two hands, Shiva minus one eye. Achatur Vadanor Brahma, Dvibahur Aparo Harihi, Apala Lochana Shambhu, Bhagavan Badarayanaha. So what Vedavyasa was the very fulcrum of all the Trimurtis, and he presented the Grantham. Besides giving Mahabharatam, it is also said that he compiled the Puranas for us. Though there are plenty of Puranas, the Purana that comes to our minds with its popularity and with the bhakti that is embroidered within its verses is undoubtedly Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. So Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam was composed and compiled by Vedavyasa, but it was professed in this world by his very, very intelligent son called as Shuka Brahmam. Dvayashta Varsham Sukumara Padam. He was 16 years of age, very young, very agile, very, very handsome. Dvayashta Varsham Sukumara Padam. So that Shuka Brahmam professed the teachings of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam as compiled by his father Vedavyasa. Remember this. Shuka Brahmam did not compose, he only professed. Valmiki wrote the Ramayanam, Lavakusha professed it around the world. Vyasa wrote the Puranam, but it was popularized by his son Shuka Brahmam. So, two things. So, Shuka Brahmam used a wonderful opportunity where the reigning king of then Hastinapura and Indraprastha together, called Parikshit, was cursed by the friend of the son of a Maharshi. So, Parikshit, when he went into the forest for hunting, he was thirsty all of a sudden. And he went and asked water in the hermitage of a rishi. And the rishi was completely indulged in dhyanam, ashtanga yoga. So when you're completely immersed in it, you will be unaware of any disturbances around. See, we recite Vishnu Sahasranam. We do. Vishwam Vishnu. Kadava tarangole. Vashatkaro bhuta bhavya bhavat prabhu bhuta krit phone adikrita parangole. Bhuta vridbhavo bhutatma bhutapavanaha bhutatma paramatma cha. Microvan la daidtan or vati kalari parango. Muktatma paramagadihi abhyayaf pundarikaksh. Seri, இன்னைக்கு யார் வரேன்னு சொன்னா 5 மணிக்கு? Srivatsavaksha, Srivasa, Srinidhi, Sri Vibhavanaha, Sridhara, Srikara, Shreya. You leave Sahasranamam somewhere in the middle. You will never end up completing it. So our dhyanam is restricted and marred by various impediments that we see around. Not that a Siddha Purusha will be bereft of impediments, just that he knows how to win over the impediments. So this Maharishi was in dhyanam. So when the Maharaja Parikshit came and said, "Give me water," he didn't pay attention because he was not even listening to it. So in a fit of rage, Parikshit took one dead snake that was lying on the ground with his arrow and garlanded the Maharishi and went away. The Maharishi was unaware of this as well. But this act of the king, which was unusual of a Kshatriya, was noticed by the Rishi's son's friend. He went and informed the Rishi's son that your father is being ridiculed, humiliated by a Raja, and you seem to be unaware and you are playing with me. So at that point in time, the boy said, the king who has insulted my father with a dead snake should be dying by the bite of a snake called Takshaka with virulent poison in 7 days from now. So the moment this news spread, the next day in Times of Hastinapura, there was an article. Our king will die in 7 days, let's get ready for the mourning. That is when the Maharaja thought, I should spend, now that I know that I have only 7 days left, I should be able to spend this productively. So he went and sat by the banks of river Ganga, Mata Ganga, and that is when the son of Vyasacharya, who had then understood the nuances of Bhagavatam as compiled by his father Vyasa, took upon the task of delineating the avatars of the Lord. So Parikshit will ask questions and Shuka Brahma will give answers. So the message was of his father, but there will be intermediate question and answers. The content was compiled by Vyasa. The intermediate questions that Parikshit asked, Shuka Brahma would answer, Parikshit asked, Shuka Brahma would answer, was compiled in a compendium of 18,000 shlokas, roughly 18,000 shlokas, housed in 12 chapters called skandams. So this, till from Prathama Skandam to Dvadasha Skandam and 18,000 shlokas, this set is called Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. So Mahabharata was written by Vyasa. Bhagavatam was also written by Vyasa. But the essence of Bhagavatam was put forth to the general public by his very learned son called as Shuka to Parikshit. In that series of lectures or shlokas in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first skandam, in English it is called canto. I don't know where this name came from. This canto, in first canto, we have got this particular shloka called Bhishma Stuti. So Bhishma Stuti is the topic for today. So I have taken about 12 minutes for this introduction. Why didn't you immerse into Bhishma Stuti now? Because the banner said 6:30 only the lecture starts. So if someone sues me in Australian court, I have very little time to actually travel back for these cases. So to play safe, to be as legally correct and politically correct as possible, the first 11 minutes I've given the introduction. So beware, the caveat is you cannot file a case. Just now Bhishma Stuti is beginning. In the first canto, we have, see today unlike yesterday, I have shlokas in front of me because Bhishma Stuti I have to explain the shlokas. But I should also explain the shlokas that act as introduction, as a gateway to this ode. So it goes like this. Suta uvacha iti bhita praja drohat sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam pragat yatra deva vratopapat iti bhitaha. So now the situation is Mahabharata war has ended. So the premise is Mahabharata war has ended. Iti bhitaha. The one who was extremely afraid. Who? Now the sons of Dhritarashtra. Who were the sons of Dhritarashtra? What were they called? Kauravas. Now remember this. Pandavas were also Kauravas. If you come in the lineage of Kuru, you are Kauravas. In Sanskritam, as a language, there are certain positives. Now when I say this, some may say, Yengal Tamilil illaya. பார்ப்பனியத்தை திணிப்பதற்காகவே நீங்கள் சம்ஸ்கிருதம் என்று கூறுகிறீர்கள். அப்படி கேட்பவர்களுடைய பேரும் சம்ஸ்கிருதம். அதுதாங்க. Right. But the point is, see, every language has a beauty. Trust me. When I sing with whatever hoarse voice that I have, lines of the Abhang of Tukaram and Namdev, I feel they are the best. रूप पाहता लोचनी सुख झाले बो साजणी तोहा विठ्ठल बरवा तोहा माधव बरवा अमृतावुनी गोढ नाम तुझे देवा जिथे जातो तेथे तू माझा संगती माझे मनोरथ पूर्ण करी देवा केशवा माधवा narayana. So when you sing Marathi, you get lost in that abhang. ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದರೇನು ಈ ಪ್ರಾಣ ನಿನ್ನದು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಶ್ರೀನಾಥ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ದಾಸನ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನುದಯ ಬಾರದೆ ದಾಸನ ಮೇಲೆ. When I sing Devarnama, I cannot not smell the Sampige and the Margosa of Malleshwaram. ഇന്നും ഗുരുവായൂരിൽ തൊഴുതു നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ മുന്നിലൊരുണ്ണി ഉണ്ടെന്ന് തോന്നും ഉണ്ണി പുഞ്ചിരി തൂക്കുന്നതായും തോന്നും നാമം ജപിച്ചു നമസ്കരിക്കുമ്പോൾ അരിത്തതു നിൽക്കുന്നതായും തോന്നും ഉണ്ണി കാതോർത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നതായും തോന്നും തൊഴുതു മടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ ഇനി എന്നോ വരുമെന്നോർ അശരീരി കേൾക്കുന്നതായും തോന്നും. Your mind will go to the beautiful Garbhagraham of Guruvayur when you sing in Malayalam. You can't stop that. When you speak of how Ramachandra sits, ಶ್ರೀರಾಮನಿ ನಾಮಮೇಮಿ ರುಚಿರ ಓ ರಾಮನಿ ನಾಮಂ ಎಂತ ರುಚಿರ. Your mind will be in Bhadrachalam. Every language is beautiful. When you sing Ramcharitmanas or the words of Tulasidas, you will be in Ayodhya for a moment. So every language has a beauty. But as an astika in Sanatana Dharma, if you have children who are slightly impatient, I would urge, for the benefit of the comfort of astikas, you should take the children out. If you feel they are patient, you can sit here. See, in Sanatana Dharma, if you wish or aspire to be a good Bhagavata or an astika, trust me, as a small humble submission from your very own brother or son, whichever way you treat me, learn as many Bharatiya languages as possible. When you attempt to learn, your literature in front of you is a huge world. When you start learning Tamil, trust me, you are open to a treasure trove called the Nalayara Divya Prabandham. When you learn Tamil, that very next moment you will fall in love with Periyalvar. Manikang கட்டி வைரமிடை கட்டி ஆணி பொன்னால் செய்த வண்ணச் சிறு தொட்டில் பேணி உனக்கு பிரமன் விடு தந்தான் மாண்டி குரளனே தலேலோ. You'll fall in love with Tamil and the Alvar. So just saying that, making fun of Indian languages, एक किसान में, एक गांव में एक किसान रघुता था, Murgala, Murga, Raskala. What are we achieving? We are not, in that time you can better learn one kriti. You spend that 5 minutes in rebuking or making fun of a language, right? In that 5 minutes, prove your intelligence by learning a language. Restricting yourself to one language will always restrict your bhakti levels as well. Because the bhakti of Alvars, the bhakti of Tulasidasa comes to us through their languages. And imagine we don't know anything and we have to depend only on English translation. O Ram, the lotus-eyed one, Kama. As you walk in the forest that is covered in the shades and the canopy, there comes the crow with its sharp beak and pricks at the tender skin of Sita. Will it give you the same effect as Chittiraguda Tiruppa Shirukkakai Mulaitinda Attirame Adan Kannai Aruttadumoradayalam? No. Learn. So that's it. Here, Mahabharata Yuddham was over. After the Mahabharata Yuddham, Yudhishthira was extremely afraid, worried. Bhitaha, Prajadrohat. He was worried if he will incur a mountain of papams. Why? Iti bhitaha, Prajadrohat, Sarva Dharma Vivetsaya. He was worried that he was going against the tenets of dharma. Because at the end of the day, in a yuddham, you directly or indirectly cause the death of not only people but of their families. So many women go widows. So many children are left fatherless. Isn't Abhimanyu a blatant example of it? He died in Chakravyuham. So the child who was born as a result, Parikshit was a posthumous child. He didn't see his father. So these are the repercussions of Yuddham. And in our history, if you have studied in Bharata Desham at some point in time, you will be aware that we were told King Ashoka, he fought the Kalinga Yuddham in Odisha, Kalinga war. Towards the end of the war, he saw the corpses lying, shedding blood. Then he turned to Buddhism. This is what we have been told. But the edicts of Ashoka and the inscriptions point clearly that he became a Buddhist even before the Yuddham. 7 years before the Yuddham, he became a Buddhist. Is it, sir? Then why do they say this? Because 70 years before, there was no way to fact check. Whatever was the history account written by that particular historian became our history. Why should they tell that he became a Buddhist only after the Yuddham? To say that to fight a war, you can be as violent as a Hindu. Only after that you will realize that violence is bad and become a Buddhist. So he became a Buddhist and fought a war. Not the other way around. He was not a Hindu and he did not turn Buddhist. He was a Hindu, turned Buddhist, lived like a Buddhist for 7 years and then fought the war. Here on the other hand, Yudhishthira thought, I fought the war, so many people are dead. Iti bhita prajadrohat sarva dharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam pragat yatra deva vratopatat. So, he wanted to seek solace, Yudhishthira. At the same time, he wanted to get some answers to questions that were tormenting him. So, he went to the Sharatalpagato Bhishma, the bed of arrows where Bhishma was lying like a dead person. He was not dead. He was still not dead. So he thought, let me seek solace and answers or clarifications to those questions that have been troubling me ever since I fought the war from my very relative Bhishma, Devavrata. His original name as per birth certificate is Devavrata. He was S. Devavrata. Why? Shantanu. Father was Shantanu, so it was S. Devavrata. That was the original name. Later it became Bhishma. So Devavrata, he went towards Bhishma. Tadate bhrataras sarve sadashvaihi swarna bhushitaihi anvagachan rathair vipra vyasa dhaumyaadayastatha. Alongside Yudhishthira, his brothers also went. That time, there is a mention what Shuka says, Dhaumyascha. One Purohita called Dhaumya also went. Who is this Dhaumya? Mahabharatam is a vast itihasam. It has 1600 character names Forget even the anecdotes. 1,600 names. Sapada Laksha Grantham. It has 1,25,000 verses, housed in 18 parvas. It is 2.5 times the size of Iliad and Odyssey put together. Such a Brihad Grantham, largest. And you'll be surprised, shell-shocked to know that till about 40 years there was a Sri Vaishnava in Kanchipuram who had memorized all that 1,25,000 verses. You don't have to worry. Today we think, initially 20 years back when we used to type on Microsoft document and we didn't save, it would go away. Then came another feature by the grace of Purvacharyas, it was called Control S. You will have to, either it will auto save or it will save. Then if you save it in a hard disk, there is chance that it could be corrupt. Then came, you used to send it to Indra, cloud. He will take care of all of it. You keep it there and do it. Now, 20 years back, I personally remember, I memorized 100 phone numbers of my relatives. My grandmother would ask and I would say, today you don't have to do anything. You actually encourage people not to memorize. What is the use of memorizing? Rote learning is something that I am absolutely against. Very good. Then what is the brain meant for you? Tell me. Brain. So, where is Vishnu Sahasranamam in my phone? Where is Purusha Suktam in my phone? Which will go for Moksham? Phone. See, one day, phone will go. The Jnanam is inside phone. We don't have anything. Only the one who's the substratum for knowledge will go for moksham. Chetana vastu alone can go for moksham, says Shastram. Knowledge is in the phone. Phone only will go. We'll have to stay back. Achida visishtan pralaye jantun avalokya jata nirveda karanakalaye barayogam vitarasi vrishashailanatha karunetvam, says Vedanta Deshika. We'll stay here. So, memory, trust me, agreed. Some people say, sir, what is the use of learning something without knowing the meaning? There is a point there. But this cannot become the only point not to learn. Learn with the meaning. See, this can be the solution. Not learning is not the solution. Learn it with the meaning and memorize. So, Sapada Laksha Grantham, why I am telling you this is, I can't go directly into Bhishma Stuti. Now I have to tell you who this Dhaumya is. In Adi Parva of Mahabharatam, Pancha Pandavas, there was a plot which was kind of raked up to kill these Pandavas in a palace that was built with inflammable materials called Lakshagraham. So Duryodhana gave a beautiful invitation. He said, my dear brother Yudhishthira, I have constructed a beautiful palace for you. Bhima said, see, there is something wrong with his invitation. He has not shown even an iota of love in our existence till now. Why is he suddenly giving a beautiful invitation and asking us to go? Yudhishthira said, never doubt anybody's intent. Yudhishthira was very honest and very innocent. He will show his hand and put the indicator. So he said, Aisa mat karo bheen. And they all went to the palace. That is when there is a secret. If you read Mahabharatam verse by verse, you will fall in love with Vyasa. While leaving, Vidura tells Yudhishthira, you know, rats live in the holes of the ground. This was his parting message. Kunti said, has he gone mad? Well, somebody is leaving, you'll say, Siya, let's stay in touch. You know, the world is small. Let's keep meeting. Mua. Then where do we say rats live in the holes of the ground? Then while they were walking, Kunti asked her son Yudhishthira, why did your uncle tell this to you? That time he says, Prajnaha. Prajna pralapajnaha. When you are an administrator, you should know the nuance of deciphering cryptic statements. So what did your uncle say? My uncle said, the house we are going to go to will get burnt. What? He said that. Then what will we do? He said, escape from the holes of the ground. This is what he said. But in Rajashastram, you should never show your expressions very brightly. Aisa hai kya? You should be very calm. So they all left. They escaped from Raksha Griham and went place after place and reached a place called Ekachakra. That Gramam was called Ekachakra. And there Bhima managed to kill an asura called Bakasura. It became news because Bakasura was not an easy person who could be killed. That is when Shakuni said, see, something is wrong. If at all somebody can vanquish Bakasura in a yuddham, it can only be Bhima. But Duryodhana said, Aisa mat, I've got complete news. 4 and 6 says 5 people were dead. Don't worry. No, they all went. Escaped from Ekachakra Nagaram, and in their sojourn in the forest, they ended up meeting a few Brahmanas. That time they said, we have lost our way, can you take us to Kampilyam? Kampilya was the capital of Panchala. At that point in time, in the middle of the night, Arjuna had to face the wrath of a Gandharva Raja called Chitraratha. Some of you who are never used to Mahabharatam, everything will be new to you. At least let this become the starting point to learn Mahabharatam. So Chitraratha said, I will fight Arjuna, and at the end of it, Arjuna somehow won the Yuddham. And he asked Chitraratha, generally I am termed to be or idealized as the best archer, but why did I take so long to win a Yuddham against you? Chitraratha said, yes, you have won. You took so long because you don't have a Purohita who advises you. You don't have an advisor with you. Always have an advisor with you who will guide you. He should be a third person. He should not be related to you. He should think of your welfare by being outside. Purohita. Hita is good. He should be outside your family but should accompany you. Purohita. That is when Chitraratha said, for having asked such nice questions, I am going to give you a bow. And then through Agni Deva's Anugraham, he gave the bow called Gandiva. And this person who was recruited by the Pandavas because of the advice given by Chitraratha was called Dhaumya. This Dhaumya is the one who advises the Pandavas to go and check if they are eligible in the Swayamvaram of Draupadi. So then Arjuna goes along with his brothers, and the rest is what you all know. So, the previous shloka said, Tamimamahamajam sharira bhajam. So, here we have Dhaumya who's mentioned. Dhaumyascha. So, Dhaumya is mentioned. Now, as they all went towards the battlefield where Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows. Now, who is this Bhishma? That I have to give one small introduction. Shantanu was a Raja who fell in love with the Abhimanini Devata of river Ganga. River Ganga said, the Abhimanini Devata of river Ganga said, I will marry you on one condition. You should not interfere in anything that I do. It looks very similar to Kali Yuga. If you ask, I will leave you and go. He was enamored by her beauty. He said, okay, he gave this emoticon, theek hai. Now eventually she had one child. She threw them into the waters. He couldn't stop her. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th child, he couldn't take it anymore. He said, a child is a product of our love. How do you let the child go into the waters? He questioned. That very moment he questioned, the child was stopped. That is when she said, since you have asked me questions, I cannot stay with you. I will nurture this child in a very, very engaging fashion. And then she brought him under the tutelage of Parashurama, Bharadvaja, Brihaspati, so on and so forth. And later at one point in time when Shantanu was looking to the flowing waters of Ganga, the waters were stopped by barricades. He wanted to know who did this task, like how we construct, these dams. So somebody had constructed a dam with arrows. So he checked who this boy was. He found out this boy was called Devavrata. He said, you have to fight me. Immediately Devavrata's mother Ganga came and said, I am the Abhimanini Devata, your Patni. This is our 8th child who has survived. His name is Devavrata. He was extremely happy to see such a valorous son with unspeakable, unmatchable prowess. He took the son home and showered love on him. Meanwhile, the boy noticed that his father was upset for some time, for no reason. He asked his father, Papa, why are you so sad? Papa did not say anything. Then he went and asked the charioteer, the Sarathi. In Bharata Desham, the drivers will know most of the secrets in that house. So in most of the ED, CBI cases, they will first catch the driver because the conversations will happen in the car. So he called the Sarathi of Shantanu and asked, why is my father upset? That is when he said, your father has fallen in love with the daughter of the chieftain of the fishermen community. Her name is Satyavati. She was bestowed a boon of eternal fragrance, Yardley, by a rishi called Parashara Maharshi. So she is also popularly called Matsyagandhi. Your father has fallen in love with the Satyavati, Aka Matsyagandhi. But there is a problem, technical problem in marriage. I do not know Devavrata because I heard him talking with someone in the chariot. But when he went inside the community, I don't know what conversation happened. He came very sad. So Devavrata could solve half the puzzle, but he wanted the other half of the Prahelika to be known. So he went to the fishermen community, he spoke to the chieftains and said, I will arrange for the marriage of my father. Tell me what I should do. He said, see, you are the grown-up son of your father. Once your father decides to be a Vanaprastha, retires to the forest, you will become the heir apparent. And then you will get married soon and you are, underline this, Devavrata's Samavartanam was over. Samavartanam is Vedic graduation and he had become a Grihastha. You have become a Grihastha. Now you will have children. After you, your child will take it up. Then what right will my grandchildren have? So that is when Devavrata said, however be my marital status, Adya Brahmacharyam, from today I will be a Brahmachari. When I vow to be a Brahmachari, I also vow I will not take up the reins of Hastinapura in my hands, and when I vowed not to get married, I won't have children. No, but they are both unrelated. But he says, let's construe that these are the words of Dwapara. So he said, I will not have children. Immediately the rishis around said, you have made a vow which is generally very tough for a Kshatriya to make. A Kshatriya was generally very polygamous in nature. And this man said, I'll not even be monogamous. I will not even marry. You have made a vow which is very tough to even utter and attain. That person in you, Devavrata, who has made this will be called Bhishma from now on. So Devavrata became Bhishma. Bhagavan api viparshe rathena sadhananjayaha satair vyarochat nripaha kuveraiva guhyakaihi drishtva nipatitam bhumau devasaschutamivaamaram pranemuhu pandava bhishmam sanugaha sahachakrina. So they all approached. Yudhishthira led the team along with his brothers and Krishna. Trust me, now when they all led, after the yuddham was over, they wanted to get a few doubts clarified. They went towards Bhishma. Sachakrina. Now you may ask, what is the difference between, like say, the 7 volumes of Harry Potter? It's a Mahagrantham. No, it's a very beautiful work with wonderful characters, and Bharatam also has characters. Harry Potter also has characters. But why do we make this Grantham so holy? Why can't it just be in one of the shelves? As a personal reader and fan of Harry Potter, I can tell you with full conviction, Mahabharatam or Ramayanam becomes a Kalakshepa Grantham or important scripture because alongside explaining the nuances of the happenings of those times, it also engages the reader in explaining the virtues of those days. See, for example, let's go to Ramayanam. Towards the beginning of Sundarakandam, end of Kishkindha Kandam, the Vanaras who were dispatched by Sugriva in the Dakshina Disha, southern direction, reached a hillock called as Tirukkurungudi in the state of Tamil Nadu, very close to a town called as Tirunalveli, is a hillock called as Mahendragiri. And this Mahendragiri at the foothills of it is a place called Tirukkurungudi. Nammalvar reveres that Divyadesham. Enganeyo annai neergal ennai munivada neer nangatkola Tirukkurungudi nambiyainan kandapin shanginodum நேமியோடும் தாமரை கண்களோடும் செங்கனிவாய் ஒன்னினோடும் செல்கின்றது வென் நெஞ்சமே, says Nammalvar. Beautiful temple, exquisite architecture of the Vijayanagara, Nayaka and the Pandyas. Beautiful temple. Those of you who have heard of the abbreviation TVS, Tirukkurungudi Vengarai Sundaram Iyengar and Sons. T stands for Tirukkurungudi. So if you go to this beautiful Divyadesham, there is a hillock called as Mahendragiri. It is believed from this Mahendragiri and close to that is a hill called as Agasthyar Kudam, where Agastya is said to have performed austerities and developed the Tamil language. It is called Tamilagam in Purananuru, and Tamil was a language that was nurtured by Agastya. So close to that is a place where a river originates. It is called Tamraparni. Tamraparni Nadi Yatra Kritamala Payasvini, says Bhagavatam. So in and around this region, Hanuman stood over the hillock and he wanted to get propelled like a rocket with the motivation given by some of his colleagues like Jambavan, Nala, Neela, Angada and the other Vanaras. Hanuman, Hanuman, like cheerleaders you have to keep telling. Then Hanuman will get, because Hanuman had a sharpam, unless somebody points out to his plus points, he will not know of it. So only if you have cheerleaders, the Jigna paper, they have to Hanuman, Hanuman, they have to keep doing, then only he'll go. So Hanuman took off. This is a normal description in any kavyam. But where does it become a Mahakavyam? When Hanuman propelled with such intensity and force upwards, the little shrubs and the herbs around him that were planted on the ground, because of the force exerted, those shrubs and small plants got uprooted and they flew to a certain distance along with Hanuman. And as Hanuman flew further, those shrubs and herbs fell on earth again. Because of the gravitational pull, simple science. So they got uprooted because of his propelling. They flew for a certain distance, maybe a few 10-20 feet. And then they all fell back. Like how Valmiki gives a simile. Like the host in a house should go 7 steps outside the house to bid farewell to the guest. See, the dharmam comes along with that. He doesn't stop only with that magical description. So he also conveys a virtue, which Rowling may not have conveyed. See, when the snitch opens at the close and the stone gets out of it, she just states that it opens at the close. It can have the flesh memory from the first book. But there is no virtue that comes along. When Dharma Shastram comes along, it becomes Ramayanam and Mahabharatam. So here, Drishtva Nipatitam Bhumau. They saw Bhishmacharya lying on the floor. Sir, everything is okay. Why didn't he die? Because his mother Ganga, knowing the Viveka in her son, the wisdom in her son, blessed him with a boon that he can choose his time of death. Again, remember, the mother knew the wisdom in her son. That is why we don't have that varam. Federal governments will go bankrupt by giving pension. See, now, imagine each of us have this varam. We can die whenever we want. We go to a house. We see some elderly person there. Yaar na ivar? Theril na 7 talamaraya irukka. Pove maatengirar. Yenda thandai tam muttappan 7 படிகால் தொடங்கி. யாருனே தெரியலையா? இவருக்கு உட்கார்ந்து ஜூஸ் பிழிய வேண்டியதா இருக்கு. போயும் தொலைய மாட்டேங்கிறது. So, the best part about life is you should, by your health, you should not cause problems to people around you. You take oranges or Mossambi to a house where you see a bedridden patient. The host welcomes you. Oh, you've got some oranges. For whom? For you. பார்த்துக்கிறவாளுக்கு தான் ஜூஸ் வேணுமா இருக்கு, இல்லை படுத்துக்கிறவாளை விட. So, Drishtva anipatitam bhumau, he fell on the bed of arrows. So you say Bhishma was such a learned man. Even his mother, the Abhimanini Devata, Ganga Devi, knew he was so intelligent, filled with wisdom. Why should he suffer? See, suffering is the result of our karma. Only by suffering you can wash away your sins. Prayaschittam cannot eradicate your karma. It can bring down the intensity of that karma. That's all. If you are to suffer from a fever of 100, it will become 99.99 by doing prayaschittam. That's all. Don't fall prey to this prayaschittam, do this, do that. You have to do your karma. Your suffering is a result of your karma. Unless and until you accept this bitter, sour, spicy truth, there is no emancipation for you in dharma. You keep on checking, okay, people, they are glued in the last 20 years to the everyday prediction of Rashi. Kumbha Rashi, this Rashi, that Rashi, this Rashi. What is this? Where are we pushing ourselves to? We are the dharma of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so on and so forth. We come from the lineage of Upanishads that talks about Jivatma and Paramatma, and we have fallen to this everyday prediction. Look at the fall, where we have stooped. From Maharishis who spoke about Nityo, Nityanam, Chetanas, Chetananam, Eko, Bahunam, Savidadati, Kaman. Upanishads talk about the eternal nature of the Jivatma. From there, every day, Kumbharashi, red color clothes, lucky number 7. Where have we fallen? Now they use Jyotishya Shastram to predict the outcome of IPL match. 4 Jyotishya people sit there. They will decide whether Rajasthan will win or ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸಾಲ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಈ ಸಾಲ ಕಪ್ಪು ನಮ್ಮದೇ ஒன்றும் வராது அந்த ஆளை பிடிச்சி 2 அடி வாங்கணும் 10 years ಈ ಸಾಲ ಕಪ್ಪು ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಅದು that Jyotisha will tell. Looking at Virat Kohli's number, ஒன்றும் இல்லை. Jyotisham is a shastram, it is a Vedangam. You should not use Jyotisham for all these purposes. Election, who will win. They check. புட்டினோட ஜாதகம் பார்க்குறான். வார ஜெயிப்பார. No, you should not do all this. Jyotisham is a Devashastram. It will not give you the desired fruits if your desires are not legitimate. Jyotisham is a very, very nuanced Shastram. It is Satyam. Jyotisham is Satyam. But it will fructify only on certain conditions, says Parashara in Hora Shastram. Now let's come back. Why did Bhishma have to suffer? Agreed, sir. We all do karma, we suffer. He has given Vishnu Sahasranamam. Why should Bhishma suffer? Because our acharyas point to one incident. When that lady Draupadi came in the middle of the sabha, she completely trusted in Bhishma. She said, Bhishmacharya, I completely trust in you. You are the most learned person in the sabha. No one can get close to you. I am like your daughter. I am suffering. This man wants to strip me. He wants to see me naked. I am already in withering pain, Bhishma. Please save me. Bhishma should have stood up and beheaded Duryodhana. Mahabharatam would have stopped with 50,000 shlokas. No more yuddham, nothing. No Bhagavad Gita, no Vishnu Sahasranamam. Ho gaya sab. He did one mistake. He said, Draupadi, you have a valid request. But some statements in the Shastram points that a wife can be treated as the Ardhangini and thereby like a possession of the man. And there are some statements which go against it. I am confused between these two. I do not know whether as per Article 52F and 92B, which one to exercise and protect you. When someone comes home, give me water. If we have water, we have to give. I have 124 questions to ask. Clear all these questions and then only give. Yaksha Prashnam is like that. Yaksha Prashnam, Yudhishthira went for drinking water. He had to answer 124 questions correctly, negative marking. If he goes wrong, then drink water. Same is the case when Draupadi is asking for help. Shouldn't have Bhishma, who is a repository of such quintessential knowledge, have helped her? He didn't. So Krishna thought there is a karma that is accumulated as a result of it. So why did he do that? For which one does one Shastra Vicharam and says, when you have inadvertently consumed the food that is bought from the money of a person who does illegal job, you also partake that karma. In Tamil Nadu, there is some talk about drug money. Right? That is why in earlier days, if elderly people can associate, they were very wary of having food outside, parannam. Because we know the hygiene nature of the food, but we do not know how did they buy that food material. They may have cheated someone. They could have robbed someone. I'm not saying they would have. They could have. So when you partake that food, you also partake that karma. Bhishma, being the son of Shantanu, the son of Gangadevi, he was Gangeya, Parama Bhakta of Narayana. Yet, why did he not help Draupadi? Because he was taking the food given by Duryodhana. So that point in time, that Shastric mind did not function. So the Lord vowed that I shall not receive the Namavali of Bhishma until I clear him of his body. So that body which was nourished with the food given by Duryodhana was bereft of every drop of blood on the Sharatalpam, and then only he recited Vishnu Sahasranama. The Lord said, Devaki Nandana Srashta Kshitisha Papanashanaha, I will not accept from you. That body should be devoid of that fat and fish and the blood that is nourished because of Duryodhana. So he was lying on the bed of arrows. At the same time, he had to ensure that there is pure justice and dharmam in Hastinapura, then only he will die. So, Drishtva nipatitam bhumau divasaschutamiva amaram pranemuhu pandava bhishmam sanuga sahachakrina. I told you, alongside explaining the incidents in Mahabharata, Vyasa also deploys virtues. What is that virtue? Pandava bhishmam sanuga sahachakrina. They all did a pradakshinam around Bhishma. He doesn't say they came and met Bhishma. They came, prostrated at the feet of Bhishma and did one pradakshinam. So in Sanatana Dharma, when you see a person who is elder to you by age, by knowledge, you fall at their feet. Immediately, how should you do? Shastram says, Dandavat pranamam kuru. Dandavat, dandam in Sanskrit means stick. You keep a stick and suddenly somebody pushes it, tup, it will fall. It will not fall in slow motion. It will fall immediately. So it is called Dandavat pranamam. When you see an acharya, immediately you have to fall. But there is another Shastra Vakyam. See, this is where you have got Virodha. You will have two conflicting statements. See, Sanatana Dharma is pluralistic to the core. If one Rishi says one thing, the other Rishi may give an opposite view. We generally say no two doctors agree. No two Rishis also agree. Apastamba and Bodhayana will have conflicting views. So in the Dandavat Pranamam, if you see a person who is elder to you by age or by knowledge, you fall. But there is another Shastra Vakyam. You should not generally accept the Namaskaram standing straight. If they give some akshada, if I stand like this, they will put one photo for me. Tomorrow I will have ashramam. The day after tomorrow I will start selling tur dal. Fourth day one soap. That is the procedure. Bhiksheti Shishya Jana Rakshana Dakshineti Shatiti Nada Matano Matakalpineti, says Vedanta Deshika 750 years before in Sankalpa Suryodayam. How will Swamiji's behave in the Kali Yugam, he says, Bhiksheti Shishyajana Rakshana Dakshineti. I am a sannyasi, I don't need money, but I have got one big samsthapanam, give money for that. Shatiti, they'll build marriage halls and ask money. All this he says. So the moment you sit in Chin Mudra, that's all, I become another Swami. So Shastram says how to avoid this. When someone falls at your feet, you have to do Punah Namaskaram. If you can't do it, at least keep your hands folded. You should all, when someone falls, it may happen the top seater. Because to even your blessings to fructify, you should have tapo shakti. Age alone will not make your blessings fructify. Remember this. I am being very blunt. Because you have to have tapo shakti. Your astu devatas should say, this man is saying, let us achieve this for him. Neither will your blessings fructify, nor will the curse. Sir, எப்படி இருக்கா பாருங்க சார், நன்னா இருக்கா சார், அவா எப்படிதான் இருப்பா. ஏன்னா நம்ம என்ன சாபம் கொடுத்தாலும் பலிக்காது, சாபமும் பலிக்காது, பிளெஸிங்ஸும் பலிக்காது. So immediately they fell. Dandavat pranamam kuru. So saha chakrina, they did pradakshinam. As they did pradakshinam, there are a few more shlokas before. This is all the introduction to Bhishma Stuti. Abhi picture baki hai mera dost. Bhishma Stuti aaramikla. Tan sametan mahabhaga anupalabhya vasuttamaha पूजयामास धर्मज्ञः देशकाल विभागवित् नह्यस्य कर्हि छिद्राजन् पुमान् वेद विधित्सितं यद्विजिज्ञासया युक्ता मुह्यन्ति कवयोऽपिः एष वै भगवान् साक्षात् आद्यो नारायणः पुमान् मोहयन् मायया लोकं गूढश्चरति वृष्णिषु. Bhishma couldn't raise his head. See, to his head, Arjuna had given one arrow pillow. So his head was also pointed upwards. But the moment he could smell the gandham of Tulasi, he could sense Krishna was near, because Krishna was the only one who used to wear the garland of Tulasi. Some of the Dakshina Bharatiyas here may be wondering, isn't it Tulasi? Why is it Tulasi? Because in Prachina Sanskritam, you never had the letter La. Lalita Lavangalata Parishilana Komala Malaya Samire Komala 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 Malaya. So this Allah is a large import from the Dakshina Bhasha. So later Sanskritam imported that La. Can they import? See, in English dictionary you have Guru, mantra. They say, right, this is the mantra for success. Where did mantra come? Did Rani give from England? No. Mantra rakshana gudhatma karya siddhim prakashayet. So there are words that English Shabdakosham acquires from other languages. Exit is not an English word. Entrepreneur, entrepreneur, that comes from the European language. It is not an English word, but you'll find it in an English dictionary. Guru and mantra, you'll find it in an English dictionary. La is in the Dakshina Bhasha. You'll find it in the Sanskritam dictionary. So here he says, when Krishna came with the Tulasi Gandham, Bhishma was extremely happy, but he couldn't lift his head. He had done Vishnu Sahasranamam and all of it, but he said, Yeshavai Bhagavan Sakshat, the one who has come with you, Yudhishthira, know him. Bhagavan Sakshat, Bhaga Itirinam, Shadgunya Paripurnena Bhagavan. Bhagava, 3 letters. Each letter specifies two gunas. Jnana Bala, Aishwarya Virya, Shakti Tejas. 6 essential attributes of Paramatma. They are denoted by two gunas. 2 gunas are indicated by the letter Bha. Second Ga. Third Va. Bhagava. Does he have any dosham in him? No. An, Na. Bhagava plus An is Bhagavan. So Sakshat Bhagavan Swayam. This is the root word. Yeshavai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Adyo Narayana. Know him to be the Prathama Paramatma Narayana. Narayana Shabdam is a very unique word in Sanskritam. Panini has one sutra for it. Purva Padat. Sanskritam jolly bore adikreno. Okay. Purva Padat Sanyayam Agaha is a rule in Panini. For mastering Sanskritam grammar, you have to learn 4,500 aphorisms called Ashtadhyayi of Panini. Alongside, you have to learn the commentary to Ashtadhyayi called Mahabhashyam by Patanjali. When you do this combo, you become decent in Sanskritam. 4,500 you have to know by heart. I'll give you one, before I get into this example, simple example I'll give. Brahma. என்னது? Brahma. சொல்லு. Brahma தானே வருது. When you pronounce it the way it is written, it is Brahma. Oh yes sir. But why do we say Brahma? Because in Sanskritam there is a rule. You put that, some of you will be aware of Devanagari Lipi, I'm assuming. You have the small ba, you put one line, it becomes bra. Then half ha, then half ma, you have to attach. And then you have to add one akaram. It's not Brahma, it's Brahma, right? You have to put. But when you write it in that order, you say bra, ha, ma. So technically, if you pronounce it, you should say Brahma. But Panini's rule states for Brahma Shabdam alone, it has to be reversed, the pronunciation. So you write it as ha and ma, but you should pronounce it as ma and ha, Brahma. But you should write it. But we are Brihaspatis. In English also we are using B-R-A-H-M-A. Technically it should be B-R-A-M-H-A because in English there is no such rule. Now let's go back to Panini Sutra. So Panini says in the first word, Nara plus Ayana. Narayana. Correct. It is not Ayana, it is Ayana. Small na. But in the resultant word you don't call Narayana. You say Narayana. Because the rule of Panini is the first word, if it doesn't have ga, and the second word and first word doesn't have ga and has ra, and the second word has na, the resultant word should be na and not na, thereby not being a common noun but a proper noun. This is one rule. Purva padatu sanyayam agaha. So Narayana is the root word. So he says Narayana Puman. So what does Narayana mean? The one who floats in water. The one who sleeps in water is called Narayana. Have you heard of Vadai? அது என்ன சார், அதெல்லாம் கேட்டிருக்கோம் சார். இந்த பாணினிலாம் தான் வடையெல்லாம் கேட்டிருக்கோம். So there are various kinds of vada, like how Paramatma has incarnated. Vada also has many avatars. அதில் கூர்மா அவதாரம் தான் ஆம வடை. அதான் பார்த்தீங்களா சார், பெருமாள் அவதாரம் மாதிரியே வடை. Because if you keep consuming vada, you will be with Perumal. You can't take the highway, bypass. So, how do you do vada? There is this medu vada. Right, medu vada. What you have to do? You have to take urad dal. Adda, இப்பதான் சார் லெக்சரே சூடு பிடிக்கிறது. நீங்க என்னவோ சான்ஸ்கிரிட்ட போட்டு, what a waste of time this man does. So, urad dal, you have to soak in water, then grind it well. எப்பவுமே உளுந்து நன்னா அரைக்கணும், வழுமூன்னு அரைக்கணும். அரிசி எப்பவுமே நர நரன்னு அரைக்கணும். இல்லையா? We are always sound people. When we tell also, we will always give it with background music. Nara naran arekano, poraporan irukano, garra garran irukano. Because we all believe in Arunagirinatha. Didditayavotta pariburanitappadam vaittu bhairavi tikkotkanadikka kalugodu kaludada tikkupara attapairava tokkuttogu tokkuttogu togu chitrapaurikku trigadaga yanna voda garagara porapora. You get the inspiration? Now, see, after you do that vada, urad dal, and then you can use even some green chilies. I'll tell you the recipe later. Now, then if you keep it in the fridge for some time and then fry it, it will come out very well. Okay. You put it in the oil and then it will fry. அப்படியே வரும். Then if you want to make it dahi vada, you have to put it in buttermilk first. Then you should add curd. So when that vada floats on that buttermilk, at that point in time, it is technically called Narayana. Because that which floats on water is Narayana. If you go to Kathmandu, there is a temple called Neer Narayana temple. It has to float. This is one meaning. Naro iti prokta, Nara iti prokta is one rule. The other meaning for Narayana is Naranam Ayanam Yasya Saha. The one who is the substratum to all the Jivatmas and Achetana Vastu is called Narayana. But along with that vada, I have to tell you one more caveat. Shastram says that you should not consume a lot of urad. Shastram. Why? Because the more urad you consume, ulundu you consume, your sharpness of memory will come down, is what Shastram says. Now don't show me one article which says it has protein. It will have protein. But our ancestors were very vigilant about memory. Okay, I'll give you an anecdote and then go. There was this Mahakavi called Sri Harsha. Sri Harsha was a Mahakavi. He gave us many works, like how Kalidasa gave us Kumara Sambhavam, Meghadutam, Raghuvamsham, Malavika Agnimitram, Abhigyana Shakuntalam, Vikramurvashiyam. Like how Bharavi gave us Kiratarjuniyam. Like how Magha gave us Shishupalavadham. Similarly, there was a great poet in the place called Kanauj, and his name was Sri Harsha. It is said he originally belonged to Kashmira. Then for seeking job, he came to Varanasi. Very intelligent person. He gave a work called Khandana Khanda Kadyam, a beautiful treatise in Sanskritam. Very tough one. He came seeking job. As usual, there was some board saying no vacancies. So he went and sat by the banks of river Ganga in the Ghattam. You have many Ghatta. In Sanskritam, Ghattam means where you get down. Today it's called Ghat. It's Ghatta. Ghatta in Sanskritam is where you get down. So you have many Ghattam, Manikarnika Ghattam, Dashashvamedha Ghattam and so on. He went and sat and he was meditating on the mantra called Chintamani, bestowed upon him by Saraswati Devi for good memory. When he was meditating, suddenly he heard a noise. Two local women, Varanasi women, they were fighting. Let's call them person A and person B. They were fighting. There was some big fight. It turned so huge that people around gathered. The local police came and they said, Kuch nahi kar sakte hain. The women were ready to kill each other. They were shouting. Then these women were taken to the court of the king. In those days, the king had to do a triple job. He had to be the judge, he had to be the administrator and the fighter. If a war comes, the king has to go. If the judgment comes, he has to give. Administration he has to do. Today we have separated three. Even then there are problems. We have army fights. Now the king said, I have to hear the case. Tell me what had happened. You cannot listen from the women because each one will give their own version. So there should have been a CCTV footage. There was no CCTV footage. Immediately the soldiers said, Sir, I was told that there was one person seated by the banks of river Ganga who was bearing testimony or witness to this very quarrel, altercation. They brought Sri Harsha, the poet who had come seeking job, to the court. The king asked, you tell me what happened. Harsha said, Sir, I come from Kashmiram. I can speak only in Sanskritam. These women were talking in your local language. I don't know that language. The king lost hope. But Harsha said, don't worry. I have the ability to repeat whatever they said. I don't know what they spoke, but I've grasped Ekasantagrahi, whatever these women spoke with the same intonation. See, people have intonation and articulation. Vaipella Raja. So, you intonate. So, with the same intonation, same pronunciation. See, every region will have its own dialect and style. If you go to the Coimbatore, Kongu region, that will have one style of Tamil. If you go down to Tirunelveli, they will have one style. And Chennai has the best. Inna. Kundiva. So all this That is one, it has its own lexicon. If you go to Kerala, Thrissur, ഒരു സൗണ്ട് ആയിട്ട് വരും അല്ലേ. If you go to Palakkad, Kadavulpad, you don't know, you have to think, Tamil பேசுறேளா மலையாளம். First time when I went to Palakkad for giving, Swami, உங்களுக்கு வெஷர்க்கறதா? யார் அது? ஓ வேர்க்கறதா? Oh. So they have their own lexicon. If you come to Karnataka, coastal Kannada is different. Davanagere Kannada is different. Telugu, Hyderabad Telugu, Nannaya and Potanna will be confused. Yemidi Sahityamaina Telugu na kade, idi Urdu kada. So if you go to Hyderabad region, it is not. If you go to Godavari district, it will be pure Telugu. Same is the case with Hindi. If you come from Mumbai, mere ko idhar jana hai, mere ko udhar jana hai. Delhi people, what is this mere ko tere ko? Say they will be confused. Every language has its own thing. So this person said, I don't know what they spoke. I will repeat. And he repeated exactly the way those women spoke. Those women were surprised. They stood like statues. So what judgment was given is a different thing. The king said, you are appointed. He became the Kavi for that Rajyam. Very intelligent person Sriharsha was. But he did not know the ability to simplify things. He was always giving complicated sentences. Scintillate, scintillate, you minuscule like asteroid in the vast expanse of the splendid sky. Which is twinkle, twinkle, little star. See, you complicate things. You have to ask for water from your mother. Amma, konu thanni. In Tamil Nadu, it has a different meaning, thanni na. But, Amma konu thanni. She will bring. Yenna ஈன்றெடுத்தவளே. என்னை 5 மாதங்கள் தன்னுடைய கருவில் தாங்கி என்னை தாங்கி நிற்கும் என்னை ஈன்றெடுத்த தாயே, ஐம்பூதங்களில் ஒன்றாயிருக்கக்கூடிய தண்ணீரை ஒரு கோளையில் ஏந்திக் கொண்டு தாமரை இதழ் போன்ற திருவடியோடு கூடியவளே அன்னநடை இட்டு பூமியில் என்னடா கேட்கிற? Simple things you complicate. When I started giving lectures, people said, sir, you're making a mistake. I said, what? We can understand what you say. I said, so what? Then they will not call you a scholar. புரியுற மாதிரி பேசிவிட்டா ஒன்றுமே இல்லை, என்ன எல்லாம் புரியுற மாதிரி இருக்குது, கொஞ்சம் புரியாத மாதிரி அப்புறம் டெஃப்பாக பேசினாதான். இன் பிலானி we used to call it OHT, overhead transmission. அப்படின்னா பேசினாதான். The physiological state of the sentient matter lies above the transcendental position. பா என்னம்மா பேசுகிறாரு துறை, எப்படி இருக்குது பாரு. So that is when you rise. Now coming back to the point. So he used to give complicated sentences. The Raja said, Harsha, you are very intelligent, but you are not able to reach the masses. Your sentences in Sanskritam are so complicated. You take some sabbatical. You go somewhere. Make things. You contemplate, internalize, and come as a simple person. Harsha went away. 1 month, the king couldn't stand the separation of his mantri. Because, to become a mantri in those days, you had to be educated. So the king sent his emissaries and said, bring him back. Now they had to find where this Harsha was. What was Harsha doing? Harsha was found below the shade of a broken cart. And what was he doing? He was eating some vadas. These soldiers went and asked him, Harsha, what are you doing? Ashesha shemushi musha masha shisheve, he said. See, look at the shas. It is called prasam in Sanskritam. You repeat certain letters so that it gives you achit avisisht. Vedanta Deshika uses this in Raghuvira Gadyam. I will just, how great a poet he was. I'll just recite a few lines of Raghuvira Gadyam. You will know how the letters have been used. ಜಯ ಜಯ ಮಹಾವೀರ ಮಹಾಧೀರ ಧೌರೇಯ ದೇವಾಸುರ ಸಮರ ಸಮಯ ಸಮುದಿತ ಸಮರ ಸಮಯ ಸಮುದಿತ ಸಮರ ಸಮಯ ಸಮುದಿತ ನಿಖಿಲ ನಿರ್ಜರ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಿತ ನಿರವಧಿಕ ಮಾಹಾತ್ಮ್ಯ ದಶವದನ ದಮಿತ ದೈವತ ಪರಿಷದ ಅಭ್ಯರ್ಥಿತ ದಾಶರಥಿ ಭಾವ ದಿನಕರ ಕುಲ ಕಮಲ ದಿವಾಕರ ದಿವಿಷದ ದಧಿಪತಿ ರಣ ಸಹಚರಣ ಚತುರ ದಶರಥ ಚರಮ ಋಣ ವಿಮೋಚನ ಕೋಸಲ ಸುತಾ ಕುಮಾರ ಭಾವ ಕಂಚುಕಿತ ಕಾರಣ ಕಾರ ಕೌಮಾರ ಕೇಳಿ ಗೋಪಾಯಿತ ಕೌಶಿಕಾಧ್ವರ ರಣಾಧ್ವರ ದುರ್ಯ ಭವ್ಯ ದಿವ್ಯಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಬೃಂದ ವಂದಿತ ಪ್ರಣತ ಜನ ವಿಮತ ವಿಮಥನ ದುರ್ಲಳಿತ ತನುತರ ವಿಶಿಖ ವಿತಾಡನ ವಿಘಟಿತ ವಿಶರಾರು ಶರಾರು ತಾಟಕ ತಾಟಕೇಯ ಜಡ ಕಿರಣ ಶಕಲ ಧರ ಜಟಿಲ ನಟಪತಿ ಮಕುಟ ತಟ ನಟನ ಪಟು ವಿಬುಧ ಸರಿದತಿ ಅತಿ ಬಕುಳ ಮಧುಗಳನ ಲಲಿತ ಪದ ನಳಿನರಜ ಉಪಮೃದಿತ ನಿಜವೃಜಿನ ಜಹದುಪಳ ತನುರುಚಿರ ಪರಮ ಮುನಿವರ ಯುವತಿ ನುತ ಕುಶಿಕ ಸುತ ಕಥಿತ ವಿದಿತ ನವ ವಿವಿಧ ಕಥ ಮೈಥಿಲ ನಗರ ಸುಲೋಚನಾ ಲೋಚನ ಚಕೋರ ಚಂದ್ರ ಕಂಡ ಪರಶುಕೋ ದಂಡ ಪ್ರಕಾಂಡನ ಖಂಡನ ಶೌಂಡ ಭುಜದಂಡ ಚಂಡಕರ ಕಿರಣ ಮಂಡಲ ಬೋಧಿತ ಪುಂಡರೀಕವನ ರುಚಿಲುಂಟಾಕಲೋಚನ ಮೋಚಿತ ಜನಕ ಹೃದಯ ಶಂಕಾತಂಕ ಪರಿಹೃತ ನಿಖಿಲ ನರಪತಿ ವರ್ಣ ಜನಕದು ಕುಚತಟ ವಿಹರಣ ಸಮುಚಿತ ಕರತಳ ಶತಕೋಟಿ ಶತಗುಣ ಕಠಿಣ ಪರಶುಧರ ಮುನಿವರ ಕರಧೃತ ದುರವನ ಮತಮ ನಿಜದನುರಾಕರ್ಷಣ ಪಾರಮೇಷ್ಟ್ಯ ಕ್ರತುಹರ ಶಿಖರಿ ಕಂತುಕ ವಿಹೃತ್ಯುನ್ಮುಖ ಜಗದಿರುಂತು ದಜಿತ ಹರಿ ದಂತಿ ದಂತ ದಂತುರೋಂತ ದಶಬದನ ದಮನ ಕುಶಲ ದಶ ಭುಜಮುಖ ನೃಪತಿ ಕುಲ ರುದಿರ ಜರ ಭರಿತ ಪೃಥುತರ ತಟಾಕ ತರ್ಪಿತ ಪಿತೃಕ ಭೃಗುಪತಿ ಸುಗತಿ ವಿಹತಿ ಕರನತ ಪರುಡಿಶು ಪರಿಗ ಸೊ ವಿಹತಿ ಸುಗತಿ ಪರಿ ದ ಟಿ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಕ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಸಂ. So look at the way he has deployed that. There is a sha and a sha. So he says ashesha shemushi musha masha shisheve. What did he say? I am consuming the week old vada that is made from the remaining urad dal which I like. So to say this, he said, why did he consume urad dal? So that he can bring his tough poetry down. Adukku sonne. Okay. So this urad dal vada which floats in the water is like Narayana. So Narayana floats in Pralaya Jalam. Yesha vai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudhascharati Vrishnishu. Bhishma was extremely elated to see Krishna there. That is when you have the next verse. Sarvatmanas samadrisho hyadvayasyalankritehe tatkritam mati vaishamyam niravadhyasya nakvachit tathapyekanta bhakteshu pashya bhupanukampitam yanme sunstyajata sakshat krishno darshanamagataha. See what Bhishma says is, Yudhishthira, Krishna has very clearly told your brother Arjuna while he was delivering Bhagavad Gita that I am equal to all. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. If you remember yesterday at about 7:15 I gave you an example. I said the Lord treats the Hussein of Arabia, you remember? He treats everyone equally. So Bhishma says, Krishna has told your brother Dhananjaya, Gudhakesha, Vijaya, Sabyasachi that he treats everyone equally. Despite that, how benevolent of him to have made an exception to come to me when my Atma is going to leave. See, technically Krishna should have not come. He should have said, no, abhi Bhishma ka Atma jane wala hai, main nahi aa sakta. Media will report that I am partial to him. But he came. So Bhishma acknowledges that. He says, despite telling that the world is equal to him, to see my Atma leave from the body, he has come as the witness. Avyayaha Purushaha Sakshi. He has come as Sakshi. That is when he said, Krishna, when my Atma leaves from the body, my eyes should see you. Come closer. Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomyaham Prasannaha Sarunalochanollasan Mukhambujo Dhyana Pathaschaturbujaha. Chaturbhujaha, Bhagavatam says, Bhishma told Krishna, like always, those beautiful lotus petal-like eyes with which you shower and ooze mercy, walk the gait of a lion and a rishabha and walk towards me. I wish to see that face which is an embodiment of such affection and love in front of my eyes with your four hands which is already present. Underline this. When Krishna was born, Bhagavatam says, Tam Adbhutam, Balakam, Ambujekshanam, Chaturbhujam. He had 4 hands. Then Devaki said, Beta, 4 hands, immediately my brother will come. He will know that you are an extraordinary child. वो दोनों हाथों को छिपा लो. அவள் ஹிந்தியில் தான் பேசினாளா? நாங்களோ சட்டை போட்டுக் கொண்டிருக்கிறோம், ஹிந்தி தெரியாது போடா என்று. நீங்கள் ஹிந்தியில் பேசலாமான்னா அவர் நார்த் ஹிந்தியில தான் பேசுவோம், உனக்கு தெரியலையா கத்துக்கோ. So she said, my dear son, my brother will see you, keep those 2 hands in the hiding, take away all those 32 teeth, drop them down. Krishna said, when Matrivakya Paripalanam is important, and he took each of the tooth down and put them and kept those 2 hands hiding. Look at the statement. She said, till my brother is there, keep those 2 hands in the hiding. The corollary is, after my brother is gone, come back to your original state. That is why after Kamsavadham, Krishna had 4 hands permanently. Avuna sir. ఇది ఏం కారణం? ఎన్టీ రామారావు గారు భీమార్జున యుద్ధంలో ఆ చలచిత్రములో he didn't have 4 hands. Why the director did not listen to the ఉపన్యాసం? మాకేం చెయ్యాలి? నితీష్ భరద్వాజ్ को 2 ही हाथ था, B.R. चोपड़ा को सुनना पड़ा. He had 4 hands. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, I can't see your cosmic form. Come to your original state with 4 hands. Svenaiva rupena chaturbhujena. So Krishna had 4. So he was called by Bhishma. That is when Bhishma says, Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomyaham Prasannaha Sarunalochanollasan Mukhambujo Dhyana Pathas Chaturbhujaha. I wish to see that face that has that aura with the redness that is akin to the rising sun. See, when the sun rises, you see a tinge of redness. It's called Arunam. That's why you call it as Arunodayam, followed by Suryodayam. How is the feet of the Lord? Tyagaraja says that the one who is an embodiment of all attributes, Aganita Guna Gana. What does he sport? He sports a garment that is akin to blazing fire or gold, Kanaka Chela. What has he done to prove his valor? He has hit 7 shala trees with 1 arrow. Sala Vidalana. How are his feet? As tender and red as the rising sun. Arunabha Samana Charana. How does he look? He has got immense greatness. Apara Mahima. How is he? Adbhutasu Kavijana Hritsadana. He stays in the hearts of great poets and devotees. Alongside Suramuni Gana Vihita. Is he the beloved of someone? Yes, Mahalakshmi. Kalasha Neera Nidija Ramana. What does he do to me? Tyagaraja says, I have accumulated sins that look like a mammoth elephant, and like the lion that pounces on the elephant, he also pounces on my papams and gets it destroyed. Papa Gaja Nrisimhavara Tyagaraja Dinuta Aganita Guna Kanakachela Sala Vidalana Arunabha Samana Charana Apara Mahima Adbhuta Sukha Vijana Hritsadana Suramuni Gana Vihita Kalashanira Nidhijaramana Papa Gaja Nrisimhavara Tyagara Jadinuta Jagada Nandakaraka Arunabha Samana Charana. How are his feet? They are akin to lotus. That is why Bhagavad Pada says, Kararavindena Padaravindam. Feet is lotus, hand is lotus. I'll be given a minister's post in India if I say this. Feet is lotus, hand is lotus. Kararavindena Padaravindam Mukharavinde. But I have good prospects in state politics also. I said rising sun. Kararavindena Padaravindam Mukharavinde Viniveshayantam Vatasya Patrasya Puteshayanam Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami. Tulasīdāsa says, नवकञ्जलोचन कञ्जपदमुख कञ्जपद कञ्जारुणं श्रीराम चन्द्रकृपालु भजो मन हरन भवभयदारुणं. That feat. In Tamil, if you go to the beautiful land of Tamil Nadu, every temple is a marvel. In 1 kilometer radius, you will get 50 acre temples constructed in pure granite in the last 1500 years. Filled with temples, Chola architecture, Pandyan architecture, Pallava architecture, Vijayanagara architecture, Nayaka architecture, Hoysala architecture. Hoysala architecture is found in Tamil Nadu as well. Infested with temples. If you go to Srirangam, Saptaprakara Madhye Sarasija Mukulod Bhasamane Vimane Kaveri Madhyadeshe Mridutara Panirat Bhogaparyanka Bhage Nidra Mudra Virama Katini Katashilaf Parshva Vinyasta Hastam Padma Dhatri Karabhyam Parichita Charanam Rangarajam Bhajeham. Says, what a kshetram Srirangam is. 21 Gopurams, 68 Sannidhis, you have Kaveri on either sides. What can match the aura of Srirangam? There, the Lord's feet are facing the east. Head faces the west. The back faces the north. His eyes face the south. Kudadisai Muniyai Vaittu Gunadisai Padam Neeti Vadadisai Pinbu Kaatti Tendisai Ilangai Noki, says Thondaradipudi Alvar. So Uttukadu Kavi says, why does the sun rise in the east? Because his feet, the Lord's feet is pointing towards the east. Kalaye Kalaye Thola Kalayil Udippan. He rises in the morning to see the feet. Kalaye Kalayil Thola. Why does he set in the west? Malaye Malayil Thola. He sets in the evening, Malaye, to see the Mal. Narayana, Thirumal. Malaye Malayil, Kalaye Kalayil. So, Vedanta Deshika says it looks as if the sun is rising between the crevice that is formed between Emerald Mountains. Maragadagiri Mekhalayile Balatapam Parandar Pole. So he says, Kalevaram Yavadidam Manomyaham Prasanna Hasa Arunalochana Lasat. For that word Aruna, it took 20 minutes. Mukhambujo Dhyana Pathas Chaturbhujaha. Sir, you seem to be an aspiring devotee, so you call him the lotus-eyed one. Do all of them agree upon this? Is there consensus? Yes. When Shurpanakha, the widowed sister of Ravana, comes and tries to propose, a lot more can happen over a cup of coffee, Rama. She goes to Nakshatra Dhanam. You know Nakshatra Dhanam? Starbucks. So, I don't know, Starbucks are fans of Vamanavataram. Small, tall. Vamana or Trivikrama. Then you have to give them specification. Chai latte means you have to tell. Milk? Would you like some whipped cream? No. Vanilla essence? No. Cinnamon powder? No. Or chai ma. Adiki ivlo kelviya. So, Shurpanakha came and proposed. Rama said, see, in this avataram I can't accept. That this you have to underline. In Krishna avataram, had she come and proposed, we would be celebrating like Radha Kalyanam, Shurpanakha Kalyanam. So he said, no, nahi, Shurpanak. Kalanjola padade. So, Shurpanak, nahi. So, adijona unne. Immediately, Shurpanakha, she wanted to attack Sita. Lakshmana stopped and her nose was cut. She had to go and complain to her half-brothers, Khara, Dushana and Trishiras around Nagpur. It is called Janasthanam, one part of the Dandaka forest. So they will ask, what happened to my pretty sister? They will ask, right? She says, who did this to me? She says, Tarunau Rupa Sampannau Sukumarau Mahabalau Pundarika Vishalakshau Chira Krishna Jinambarau. My dear brothers, you know who did this to me? Those lotus-eyed, broad-shouldered, long hand, pleasing countenance, Lakshmana cut my nose. இப்படியா சொல்லுவோம்? யாருன்னா அடிச்சா? என்னமா இருக்கார், ரித்திக் ரோஷன் மாதிரி இருக்கார், படான்னு ஒரு அறை கொடுத்துட்டார். Even while actually complaining about Rama, she says the one with lotus eyes, Pundarika Vishalakshav. So forget about Acharyas calling him the one with lotus eyes. Even Shurpanaka, the victim, calls him the one with lotus eyes. So here the shlokam is Mukhambujo Dhyanapathas Chaturbujaha. So there is nothing wrong in calling him the one with lotus face. Now why did our dear Yudhishthira come? The shloka says, Dana dharman, Rajya dharman, Moksha dharman, Vibhagashah, Stri dharman, Bhagavad dharman, Samasavyasa yogataha, Dharmam pravadatastasya sakala pratyupasthitaha, Yo yoginas chanda mrityorvanchitastu uttarayanaha. So that is when Bhishma said, why have you, he asked, Yudhishthira, why have you come now? Yudhishthira said, sir, I have heard so much from you about Rajya Dharmam, Moksha Dharmam. Now I should give you ample opportunity for you to give your parting message. Please tell us. So all questions of Yudhishthira were when Bhishma was on the bed of arrows. My grandmother used to make the best Molagu Kolambu. Tamil Molagu Kolambu. Kannada enna solva? ಅದು ತೆರಲ ಬೇರೆ ಏதாவது ಪೇರ ಮಾತಿಗೆ ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದ. ಮೆಣಸಿನ ಸಾರು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇವಾಗ? ಮೆಣಸಿನ ಸಾರು ಅಂದರೆ ರಸಮ್ ಇಡೋ, ಮೆಣಸಿನ ಕೊಳಂಬು ಅದು ಕೊಂಚ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ದ ರೆಸಿಪಿ ಲೇಟರ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದು ಸಾರಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಾರಂದರೆ ರಸಮ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಕೊಳಂಬು, ಕೊಂಚ ಕೊಳಂಬಿನ ಬರೋಣ ಹುಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಬೆಂಚ್. ಸೊ okay, so I used to like the delicacy. I understand that it is found, it is a consumable dish found in the southern part of India. My grandmother used to make the best Molakkaramba. I was under the guardianship and love of my grandparents. When my grandmother in 2017 was in the ICU, I left all the healthy years that she was in. Party, nee Molakkaramba pannuviye eppdinu sollu. She was on the deathbed. I got the recipe there. When Bhishma was living all these years, Yudhishthira had no questions. The moment he fell on the bed of arrows, Kimekam Daivatam Loke, Kimbapekam Parayanam, Suvantakam, and all pavan tavichindrukaranga. Kavarchantaha, Prapmayur Manava Shubham, Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmanam. And Bhishma, poor man, he answered. That is when they asked this question, Aapki Rai kya hai? What is your opinion? Tell your feelings. Mati iti mati rupa kalpita vitrishna Bhagavati satvatah pungave vibhumni Swasukhamupagate kvachid vihartum Prakritimupayeshu yad bhavat pravaha. Now Bhishma started telling. This is where Bhishma Stuti begins. What is the identification of a bad speaker? He'll give introduction for 1 hour and then begin. What is the premise for Bhishma Stuti? I have to give you that premise. Bhishma was the commander-in-chief. See, for an army, you will have a commander-in-chief. You have to listen to him. Whether you like him or not, you have to listen. So, Duryodhana appointed Bhishma as the commander-in-chief. Sir, who is Duryodhana to appoint? Bhishma is senior, right? In Bharatadesham too, there are certain parties where families will appoint the president. Same is the case here. So, Duryodhana appointed Bhishma as the commander-in-chief. But Bhishma and Karna always had some problem. So, Karna vowed, till Bhishma fights on the battlefield, I will not enter. So, Krishna achieved this. This was one point. See, before a yuddham, your victory should be determined in dissolving and bringing the morale down of your opponents. Half your yuddham should be done before the yuddham. So Krishna did that very intelligently. Morale of the Kauravas was brought down because Karna said, I will not fight. So ye ho gaya, one tick mark. Then before the yuddham began, Krishna said, whoever wishes to change sides, come. The 101st son of Dhritarashtra, born through a maid servant called Yuyutsu, joined this team. See, before election, if you join, immediately that opposite party will lose the morale. See, these are all strategies in Mahabharata Yuddham. Now, Yuyutsu came. Bhishma, he vowed that I will not fight, Karna said, I will not fight, Bhishma is there. There was another point. Bhishma had vowed that he will let Krishna lift the weapon. Huh? Why should he vow? Why can't Krishna lift the weapon? There is another precedent to that. Krishna was related to both the sons of Pandus and the sons of Dhritarashtra. Arjuna was his very own cousin. In marriage to Subhadra, the son-in-law as well. On the other hand, Duryodhana was the Sambandhi. So you know this famous incident in Udyoga Parva of Mahabharata where Krishna was sleeping in the afternoon power nap. Duryodhana came and sat near his head. Arjuna came later and sat near his feet. Krishna woke up. He asked, Arjun, action king, tum kab aaye? I didn't get that. So Arjun said, Abhi. Then Duryodhana got angry and said, I came 1 hour before. So Krishna said, as per Dharma Shastram, when you distribute real estate, you should always give choice to the younger one first. So he said, Arjuna, I have 2 things. Arjuna, I have 2 things. One, I have a very well equipped army called as Narayani. And on the other side is me. What do you want to choose? Arjuna said, obviously you, Krishna. Duryodhana was fooled. He thought he has taken the weaker part. He said, okay, I will take the army, and went away. That is when he went and told, Mama, Uncle Shakuni, Vetri Namade. Why Vetri, my dear nephew? Krishna has gone that side. Oh, you fool Duryodhana. You have left that Krishna on the other side. That man will do anything to achieve what he wants. You go and ask an addendum, an appendix portion to the boon, that Krishna should not use any weapon on the Yuddha Bhumi. Duryodhana went and asked, Mama, kya sonnar? Nee ayudatha edukapadadan. Krishna immediately said, okay, I will not use a weapon. After he left, Arjuna asked, what Krishna? You promised to stay by our side, and if you are not lifting any weapon, what use will you serve in the Yuddha Bhumi? See, if you are a surgeon, you go to the operation theatre, I will not use any instruments. Are you audience to that surgery? You have to use. You are playing on you are going to fight the Kauravas and you do not use a weapon. What purpose? Krishna said, don't worry. Send your existing Sarathi on casual leave for 18 days. वो चला जाएगा तो कौन सारथी करेगा? मैं करूंगा. A charioteer doesn't need weapons. What will you do there? We will all form a WhatsApp group. Whatever message I say, each of you should follow and execute. Strategy ho gaya. So Krishna had vowed that he will not use a weapon. Bhishma called the press on the eve of the Yuddham and told the media, I promise I will make Krishna lift the weapon. Which means I will make Krishna defeat the very purpose of his vow, his promise. So the same paper reported 2 articles. Krishna says, I will not use a weapon. Bhishma says, I will make Krishna lift the weapon. Dekhenge kya hota hai. So now, on the 10th day of the Yuddham, because the first 9 days went on a waste. Arjuna used to hit 1 arrow, Bhishma used to hit 1. It was a normal game. Krishna got perturbed. He said, I have left all my administrative work in Dwaraka, assuming that this Yuddham will get over soon. And here the grandfather and grandson are playing like this. Arjuna, I have told you so many times, get serious and finish the Yuddham early. As such, 18 days of Yuddham is going to cost us 1,25,000 shlokas of Mahabharata. If you keep on fighting, how much more will Vyasa write? But Arjuna said, nahi, our tata theriyuma. Chinna vayasula evvalo alagani ooti uttirukka theriyuma Krishna. Yo, sanda podiya. Krishna thought there is waste giving him Bhagavad Gita Upadesham. First day. So one day Krishna got angry. He said, no use asking you to fight Bhishma. It is okay even if the vow or the promise that I have made goes to the bin. Let it go to trash. I shall vanquish this Bhishma today and end the war today. He got up from his Sarathya seat. As he got up, he jumped on the field. The thin dust that was enveloping the crust spread, dispersed in thin air. People who were fighting were perplexed that Krishna was fighting now. If Krishna fought, Sudarshana Chakra, one day Yuddham over. The end. Krishna jumped from the Ratham with his eyes that were Raktankalochanaha, that eyes that were reddened in the ends. He left those reins of the horses, Shweta Shvaha. His Uttariyam, the upper garment, flew in air. The horses were extremely worried. Arjuna couldn't speak a word. As he went running towards Bhishma, he took one broken wheel that was fallen off of a cart. He rolled it in thin air as if it was the discus. That very second, Bhishma relinquished his bow, his quiver of arrows, went to the Yuddha Bhumi, did Sashtanga Namaskaram to Krishna and said, I was waiting for this moment where you will kill me, Krishna. That point in time, when Bhishma saw Krishna coming in that state, Bhishma Stuti was born. So he says, Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam Ravikara Gauravambaram Dadhane Vapuralaka Kulavritananabjam Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastumena Vadya. Vijaya Sakhe. Arjuna had many names. 10 names is what Bharatam says. Can you tell there is one incident where Arjuna had to prove his own identity by telling the 10 names?
He has to tell to Lakshmana Kumar.
Very good. In Virata Parva, the 4th Parva, towards the end, Uttara Kumara, the son in the Matsya Desha, Virata Desha, asked Brihannala, the eunuch, who was Arjuna, if you are Arjuna, tell me your 10 names. There is one shlokam that describes the 10 names of Arjuna. Beautiful. Mahabharatam is class. Now, Vijaya Sakhe Ratirastumena Vadya. Bhishma says, Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varnam. The one who owns the 3 worlds. What is his color? Tamala Varnam, like the Tamala tree. It is bluish green. See, Shastram doesn't give a clear indication of the complexion of the Lord. At times it says he's dark, black. In certain occasions it says he's blue. In certain occasions green. Maragata Manimaya Chela. The green hue of the emerald. Neelatoyata Madhyastha, blue. கண்ணனென்னும் கருந்தெய்வம் காட்சி பழகி கிடப்பேனை புண்ணின் புளி பெய்தார் போல் புறம் நின்று அழகு பேசாதே. கண்ணனென்னும் கருந்தெய்வம், black, blue, green. What color, sir? Kamban says mix all the 3. அவ்வளோதான். See, I'm sure the Stri Goshti here will be able to relate. There are certain colors which are double colors. இந்த மயில் கழுத்துன்னு சொல்வா, கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கா? மயில் கழுத்தில் மவுண்டன் பார்டர் போட்டு ரெட்டப்பேட்டு ருத்ராட்சம் பார்டர், கண்டபேருண்டா மோட்டிவ். என் மனது காஞ்சிபுரம் செல்கின்றதே. So there are certain colors which are double colors. Krishna was a triple color. In one angle dark black, one angle blue, one angle green. See, some of them, when Ramalalla was installed in Ayodhya, some of them they called me and checked, sir, why have they made him in black stone? He was white, right? As per Ramayanam, he was dark, pure black. Not even a tinge. If you keep collyrium, Itex next to him, Itex will look fair. என்ன மாப்பிள்ளை எப்படி இருக்கார்? கருப்பா, கருப்பு. அந்த இப்புல அழுத்திட்டா போறோம், அவ்வளோதான். போட்டு மை எழுதலாம். Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamala Varnam. That complexion, Krishna. See, you have to imagine that color. Eyes should look like the petals of a newly blossomed lotus. Large eyes. It should extend till the ears. Dancers will do one technique. They will put mai till the ears. Kanne avlo perusa irukano. Tribhuvana Kamalam Tamala Varnam. Eyes should be like the lotus petals. The color should be an admixture of black, blue and green. There should be a resplendent crown that looks as if 1,000 suns were smelted together. There should be fish-like earrings, Makara Kundalam in his ears. And there should be a beautiful choker, Amrapali. So there should be a beautiful choker, long haram. There should be a kaustubham. There should be a ponnan, Janayu. And there should be a bright yellow silk enveloping his thighs. There should be a thin ray of red cloth that covers that yellow cloth. This combination is very petrifying. Black plus red plus yellow. Enna sir, idu bayamma irukku. Traffic light. For Krishna it will suit. We should not try. For him it will go. Tribhuvana kamanam. Bhishma says, Tamalavarnam Ravikara Gauravambaram Dadhane Vapur Alaka Kula Vritananabjam. Alaka Kula. Alakalalladagagani, says Tyagaraja. See, we were all best in fashion. Remember, as per Sanatana Dharma, men and women used to compete in jewelry. It is only after the colonial rule we all said gentlemen should be away from jewelry. Nothing like that. Krishna used to compete with Gopikas. Avale konja kammiya pottunirukka mari irukum. Rukmini romba jaasti pottunirukku. Rendu kaiti enkitta kudungo. So men used to compete in jewelry, in colors. This pastel colors, only white. All this was not up. Look at Krishna's dress. So here he says Vapur Alakaha. See that hair. Men used to have long hair. Now that is back in fashion. Yeah, thalai virita. Abde mail pili mari malai marai mudanjil manni kidandurangum Siriya singam arivutru thivulithu abdi varar. So long hair, and it should be curly in nature without putting rollers. It should roll. It should be curly. Innonu pencil mari onnu irukum. Apdi sutthelna munnadi vandu ipdi suttum. Puriyartho? Sir, idella ungalku eppadi theriyirudhu? How do you know? In my house they do. So Alakalladagagani, when Rama used to, when Vishwamitra came and asked, Dasharatha, give that eldest son of yours to vanquish the demons who are obstructing the yagam, he says, Swaputram Rajashardulam Ramam Satya Parakramam Kakapaksham. Kakapaksha means where the hair is curly and comes near the temple locks. So when Krishna jumped from his chariot, those hair tresses were jumping in rolls. Vapur alakakula vritananabjam vijaya sakhe. O friend of Arjuna, ratirastumena vadya. Please grant the fruits that I have asked by killing me. Yudhi turagarajo vidhumra vishwakacha lulita shramavaarya lankrita asye mama nishita sharair vibidhyamanatvachi vilasat kavachestu Krishna atma. When Krishna jumped, there were drops of sweat on his face. When did this yuddham happen? It happened in the second half of the year, around that Kartika Masam, Margasirsha Masam, that period. Because after Uttarayanam comes is only Bhishma departs. So the shloka says Uttarayanaha. So when he departed, it was Uttarayanam. Then the yuddham must have happened in Dakshinayanam, the second half of Dakshinayanam. Technically, it is not summer. See, second half of Dakshinayanam is not summer. It is rain and then it is winter. But he says, even then Krishna worked so hard by being a charioteer that drops of sweat were found. So I wish to see Krishna's face with the drops of sweat, he says. So Alankritasye mama nishita sharair vibidhyamana tvachi vilasat kavachestu Krishna atma sapari sakhi vacho nishamya madhye nijaparayor balayor ratham niveshya sthitavati parasainika yurakshna hridavati parthasake ratir mamastu. Bhishma says, parasainika yurakshna. Krishna, when you come jumping from your seat of being a Sarathi towards me and you're having a look at the army, trust me, Krishna, I know, with your single look itself, you have vanquished the army. What fought were dead bodies, he said. After Krishna has seen them, The result of the war was done. See, in Bhagavad Gita, the first day itself, we have this question asked by Dhritarashtra. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Sanjaya, tell me what is happening between my sons and Pandu's sons. So Sanjaya says, with the grace given by Vyasacharya, all that happened, and then he ensures he narrates the questions posed by Arjuna and answers given by Krishna. That is Bhagavad Gita. Then Krishna shows his cosmic form. Sanjaya starts shedding tears. Dhritarashtra asks, what are you seeing? He says, Swami, I am seeing some form which I can't even fathom, I can't even understand. Tell me, Sanjaya. Wait, I have to first grasp and then tell you. He tells. Finally, when everything was over, the same person, Dhritarashtra, asks, now you tell me who will win. Sanjaya banged his head against the pillar and said, this man shows his Vishwarupam. He shows that the entire universe is him, and he is the Sarathi to Arjuna. He is on the side of the Pandavas, and you fool, you are asking for the outcome. He didn't use the word fool, because ultimately he was the king, CEO. So what he did was, he gave an intelligent answer. He said, Dhritarashtra, I may not be aware of the outcome of the war, but I know for one thing for sure. I've heard my elders say one thing. Is it so, Sanjaya? What have your elders said? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Wherever there is this yogic practitioner, the king of Yoga Shastra called Krishna. Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. Wherever there is the master in archery called Arjuna. Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir. Victory will be on one side. I am not saying it. My grandmother used to say it. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. This was on first day, Bhagavad Gita. 10th day, Krishna jumps from the chariot and looks at the army. Bhishma says, I saw you looking at our army, Krishna. We are defeated. So he says, Ratham Niveshya Sthitavati Parasainika Yurakshna. Parasainika Yurakshna, with your eye glances. Remember, in Sanatana Dharma, of the 5 Pancha Jnanendriyas, eye is accorded very important state. That is why our parents or grandparents will say, Drishti Patturtu. Nazar. Utarna. Why that nazar? Because eye can actually touch another person without being next to it. See, if you technically go to an airport and somebody is looking at you, you don't have to look at that person to understand he's looking at you. There is something which tells you that somebody is looking at you. Because the eye has the ability to touch another body even without being present next to it. That is why they do drishti. That is why Periyalvar sang Pallandu. That is why we say Netra Darshanam in Tirumala. That Netram has that power. So he said, with your eyes you have defeated us. Vidyaya yas charati paramasyate. Vyavahita prita namukham niriksha svajanavadhat vimukhasya dosha buddhya kumati mahadara atma vidyaya sas charanarati paramasya tasya mestu. Arjuna, who was polluted with ignorance, that time Krishna, you explained the saram of Upanishad. See, that's a very beautiful incident in Bharatam. Arjuna asked this question, should I fight them or not? That is when Krishna started explaining. He took the Ratham in the middle of the battlefield. So on either sides, neither could the Pandavas nor the Ashtras listen to it. That time Duryodhana went and asked Bhishma, Tata, why have we not begun this Yuddham? We should begin immediately. See, even after the exit polls, you still feel you can win. After having Krishna there, this Duryodhana continued to believe that he is going to win. So he said, fight. That is when Bhishma said, I won't wait for the Pandavas to kill you. I will do it myself. Keep quiet for some time. Duryodhana asked, don't use such harsh words. Bhishma said, I am feeling so jealous, envious of Arjuna, that he alone in this entire battlefield is a recipient to Krishna's knowledge. See, there was no other person there. Sanjaya knew it from a distance. No other person asked questions. Arjuna had free time. Krishna, I have this doubt, sir. Krishna will answer. Doubt, sir. Answer. Only student. How fortunate should this Arjuna be? He was able to see Krishna in that Acharya Sthanam, Gita Acharya. I am envious of my own grandson, Duryodhana. See, Arjuna, despite being my grandson, he alone listens to that Upanishad Sara Bhagavad Gita. I am not. I am just a few meters away from that Ratham. I am not able to, and you are troubling me that I have to fight this Yuddham. So he says, Vyavahita Pritana Mukham Nirikshya Svajanavadhat Vimukhasya Dosha Buddhya Kumahita Maharadatma Vidyaya Yascharnarati Paramasya Tasya Mestu Swanigamamapahaya Mat. Look at this word. You see, Bhagavatam is an experience. He says, Mat pratignyam mritam adhikam. And Krishna ran towards Bhishma to kill. In a way, he had broken his own promise. But Bhishma had won the promise. What was his promise? I will make Krishna lift a weapon. I will make Krishna lift a weapon. Krishna's promise was, I will not lift a weapon. Now, when Krishna is lifted, Krishna is defeated, whereas Bhishma is won. So this point in time, Bhishma tells Krishna, how great of you. You are Paramatma. Even if you seem to have lost, you want to make your devotees win. Kudarai vellum seer Govinda. Aham bhakta paradhinaha, says Bhagavan to Durvasa. Aham bhakta paradhinaha. Durvasa, you have been thinking that my devotees are subservient to me. No. I am subservient to my devotees. Today they lock their house and go for 4 days on a trip to Great Oceanic Drive. And I don't get food in my house, I'm okay. If they go to Christchurch and Queensdown in South Island and I don't get food in their house for 3 days because they have locked me, I'm okay. Aham bhakta paradina. If they lock me and go, I stay. Wherever they keep me, I'll stay. If their son doesn't do well in thermodynamics, the mother gets angry with me. Yeah. She does not have the ability to tell the son read well. She'll tell, pass panna vekkala. And she refuses to serve me for 3 days. I'm okay with that also. So, aham bhakta paradhinaha svanigavavahaya mat pratignyam ritamadhikartum avapluto rathastha dhritarata charanobhya yachuladgur haririvahantu mibham gatottariyaha. There is a thing here. When Krishna jumped from the Ratham, I told you his upper garment, it is called Uttariyam. It comes up. Uttanapada means upside. Uttariyam means that garment which is at the top. So here is that Uttariyam. Gatottariyaha. So that Uttariyam is at the top. Now when Krishna left his place, one interpretation says he left that Uttariyam in his seat and came. Gata Uttariyaha. He left it and came. Why? See, imagine you realized yesterday's state and today you would have come here at about 4:45, 5 or even 5:50. Somebody may have called you and said, please keep one seat for me. Pannada? So how will you reserve that? You cannot sit between the two seats. So you will keep your kerchief there. We are used to from Bharata Desham days. I don't know, how many of you are from Mumbai? See, I worked in Mumbai for 6 years. I used to stay in this place called Matunga. My workplace for 1 year out of the 6 years was in a place called Kurla called Sakinaka. So, if you have committed some of the grave crimes in your Purva Janma, irrevocable sin, then your workplace will be in Sakinaka. Because I had to walk till the Matunga station, then take the central line to Kurla. From Kurla, I had to take one double-decker bus and it will go via Safed Pool. There is one place called Safed Pool. It will go via Sakinaka. So, then you will realize how my Jatakam is. So, in the train, by the time the train would come, see, it had to come from CST. I don't know if you know Bombay
you have Harbour Line, Western Line, and all these lines, Central Line. So in the Central Line it used to come, there used to be two locals, fast local and slow local. ये धीमी local आहे, घाट को पर पर्यंत सर्व स्थानों का पर थाम ले. There will be one announcement also in that. So we have to get inside that. So I used to have one friend. I used to tell him, please reserve one seat for me. But first of all, leave seat. It is like Sharanagati. See, getting inside Bombay local is like Sharana. You have to submit yourself. The Bhagavatottamas will push you from behind. All the rest of the things will happen by itself. They will push you. You should not do anything. They will push you from behind. So, Gata Uttariyaha. Generally, you keep a piece of cloth, it means it is reserved. That is why Alvar is also reserved. Apodekku, Ipode solli vaithen. So, Krishna was so determined to get two posts in his life. In Rama Avataram, he had two worries. He never ever got to ride a chariot. See, driving is an art. Some people love driving. Some people love to sit next to the driver. That is me. So some people love driving. They have to get a new brand. They have to check that car, how it goes, and all of that. So Rama wanted to drive. Even while he left Ayodhya to go to the forest, Dasharatha sent Rama with the charioteer called Sumantra. Sumantra drove them till the banks of river Ganga, crossing Sarayu, and left them there. So Rama again never got to ride the chariot. And inside the forest, of course, he had to walk. He had to walk. Agrataf prayayau Ramaha Sita Madhye Sumadhyama Prishtatastu Dhanushpanihi Lakshmanaha Anujagamaha. He used to walk. While he fought Ravana in his land territory called Lanka, that time he wanted a chariot, because a chariot is essentially needed to keep your weapons, to store your weapons. That time, Yuddhakandam says, Indra sent his chariot along with the charioteer called Matali. So the chariot came with the driver. Again, so Rama never got to ride a chariot in Rama's life. Same is the case with being a messenger. See, a messenger is supposed to be a very important post. You have to correctly take the message from point A and give it to the recipient point B. That is why we used to play one game called Chinese Whisper, if you remember. The first message and the last message will not be the same. So a messenger should be very adept. Kabutar ja 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 la. Kabutar. That kabutar should go right. So that message should go. Alvar says, Amshiraya Madanarai Adiyattai Niyumni Namsiraya Shevalamai Avaven Nenakaruli Vemshiraya Pullu Yartarka Yenbidudai Shennakal Vanshirayil Avanvaikil Vaipundal Yensayumo. This is the fourth Tirvaimuri in the first pattu of Tirvaimuri. So you have to send a message. That is why in Rama Avataram, Rama sent Hanuman as the messenger. Very adept speaker Hanuman is. Here it is not in my scope. I'll be speaking in Canberra on the Friday, Saturday, then in Adelaide on Sunday, Monday on Hanuman, Ramayanam and so on. So to know how great Hanuman was good, Hanuman Chalisa fine. How was he a good speaker? Prove it. You have to prove from Ramayanam how he is a better speaker. Beautiful places Valmiki gives. Hanuman was a very good communicator, an extraordinary grammarian, the best vocabulary he had. Rama chose Hanuman as the messenger and he went to Sita and came back. Now, Rama developed the inclination, the penchant to say that I should be a messenger. He never got the opportunity. So, two things he aspired, to be a Sarathi and a messenger. So, in Krishna Avataram, he was waiting for the opportunity when the sun would shine so that he can make hay. That opportunity came when on behalf of the Pandavas, he went as the messenger of the Pandavas. So, he became a messenger. Then he got the post of a Sarathi. After having gotten this post, after so much of struggle, he was worried, if I leave the seat and go towards Bhishma, what if Arjuna appoints another person? So he left his Uttariyam there. Gatotariyaha. हरिरिव हन्तुमिभं गतोत्तरीयः शितविशिखहतो विशीर्णदंशः क्षतजपरिप्लुत आततायिनो मे प्रसभमभिससारमद्वधात्तं स भवतु मे भगवान् गतिर्मुकुन्दः. Hey Krishna, when Moksha Pradata is walking towards me, when Chakradhari is walking towards me, Pratibhata Shreni Bhishana Varaguna Stoma Bhushana Jani Bhayasthana Taran Jagadavasthana Karan Nikhila Dushkarma Karshana Nigama Saddharma Darshan Jaya Jaya Shri Sudarshana Jaya Jaya Shri Subdarshana Shubha Jagadrupa Mandana Suraganatrasa Khandana Shatamaka Brahmanandita Shatapatha Brahma Vandita Pratita Vidvatsa Pakshita Bhajata Ahirbudnya Lakshita Jaya Jaya Shri Sudarshana Jaya Jaya Shri Sudarshana. The Chakram Yadayattam Jagat Chakram Kala Chakram Cha Shashvatam, says Vedanta Deshika. I'm sure various challenges that we face in our regular life, professional life, family life may make us very weak, mentally very weak. Of course, a lot of us do seek medical help. We go to a therapist and so on and so on. That is on one side. Sudarshanashtakam is a big panacea for such problems where you feel you are with diffidence, not confidence. It's a very simple shloka. Now you may ask, how many respondents and where was the patent that says Sudarshanashtak is very good for the health? There is no patent. I believe in what my acharyas say. Their word is my law. If Vedanta Deshika says this will help, try. This is a less expensive. You have to just learn. One day you have the script, learn 8 shlokas, Ashtakam. Try. What is the harm in trying? We all become devil's advocate and we believe that we prove our prowess and intelligence by only asking questions. Try it. Sudarshanashtakam. So when Krishna came with that chakram, Shiti Vishikahato Vishirna Damshaha Kshataja Pariplutat Atatayino me Prasabham Abhisasara Madvadatam Sabhavatu me Bhagavan Gatir Mukunda. Bhishma said, I'm ready, Krishna. See, at least my name should get into the golden pages of Bharatiya history that I was killed by Krishna. See, that itself, if you are fighting a very strong person, let's say you want to fight somebody in Varanasi. Even if you know you will lose, you will become in the headlines. You will know you are going to lose. Yet you will come in the headlines that I am going to fight the strong person. So Krishna, if you kill me, at least I will get into the good pages. So please kill me. Gatir me Mukundaha. Give me moksha, Krishna. So Krishna came with that. See, here there's a point. He says, Shiti Vishikahato Vishirna Damshaha. What had happened? There are 2 sambhavams that I have to tell you from Ramayanam and Mahabharatam. Rama was a very straightforward, humble, modest person. That is why a lot of problems in his life. He wanted to be as blemishless as possible. The more you try to achieve perfection, see, generally, I'll give you, I like cooking a lot. You must have guessed it by now. So, in cooking, I'm sure those of you men or women here who are interested in cooking, because cooking is an art. It is not a mundane task. You have to cook with that passion. When we cook, we'll realize there are days when we cook a dish just like that, it will turn out very well. One day you look into the recipe, 20 grams of this, 1 teaspoon of this, and that needs to be, it will turn out very bad. When your concentration is completely on it, it will turn out very bad. Just like that you do, it will be wonderful. So, in Rama Avataram, Rama was very careful. Here, what if media reports like this? What if they think like this? With this full concentration of dharma, inadvertently there were many situations where he had to mar his own character. Simple example, when some third person talks something about Sita. Had Krishna been here, Kutan Vayandale, bring him to me. Yada yacham Krishna would have treated. We know Krishna's character. Rama is the other way. அப்படி சொல்லிட்டாளா? ஏம்மா எனக்கு போய் ஏன் இப்படி நடக்குது? நான் ஒழுங்கா தானே இருக்கேன். எனக்கு போய் இப்படியா? ஏம்மா ஏன்? So Rama is very concerned about his character. He has to be perfect. What is wrong in that, sir? In that process, as a human being, there will be some mistakes. People will continue to find mistakes. Who says this? Bhattatri says in Narayaniyam in the 35th Dashakam, last verse. He says, Adhika dharma niyagnam. So what he says is, dharmatitam. If I remember the word, it's dharmatitam. What he says is, over perfection or attachment to dharma will make you take some decisions which in the long run may not be judicious enough. So that's how Rama's life is. Now, immediately when I say this, you may ask, so is Rama not the Maryada Purushottam? Yesterday I told you very clearly, Rama is not respected for being 100% perfect. He is respected for doing the attempt to be 100%. Your attempt is what is valued. See, a child studies. At the end of the day, if the child doesn't score, even then the hard work deserves or commands respect. Not always you will be the first. You can get ducks. But you attempt to be that, you will be one. That attempt. So Rama did that. In that process, he never used to get angry. But there are a few occasions where he got angry too. I'll tell you the first one. Rama had to construct a setu between Bharata Desham and Lanka. For that he had to get the green tribunal clearance. Samudra Raja had to say, okay, you can construct. If he constructs, then few activists will come. அங்க இருக்கக்கூடிய மீன் வகைகள் எல்லாம் இறந்து போகின்றது, நீங்க கட்டக்கூடாதுன்னு நிறுத்திவிடுவா. அதுக்கு ஒரு கேஸ். So Rama thought, let me follow the rule. Let me take the Samudra Raja's permission and then construct. For 3 days, that the Ministry of Waterways said that Varuna has to answer any plea within 3 business days. He didn't come. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 working days. He didn't come. Rama got angry. He said, देखो, clause 14 बता रहा है लक्ष्मण कि समुद्र राज को 3 दिन में आना चाहिए. वो नहीं आया है. मुझे बहुत, मैं उत्तेजित हो रहा हूं, क्रोधित हो रहा हूं. He got angry. He looks into the paper. To get a marriage certificate in Chennai, you try this. It will be written 10 rupees certificate. 10 rupees, na, 10 rupees 10 rupees note. Nothing. Then you will get your marriage certificate when you are having Sashtita Purti. வாத்தியார் கூட்டு திருமங்கல்யம் திருப்பி கட்டி உப்பிலியப்பன் கோயிலில் கட்டும்போது திரும்பி கிடைக்கும் அது. So Rama was too naive. He used to go by the paper. He got angry. Raktankalochanaha. You obedient son of Sumitra, Saumitre, Chapamanaya. Go get my bow and the quiver of arrows. I will teach this Samudra Raja a lesson. He got angry. Then that person says, Rama. Samudra Raja came. By the time I could come, you got angry on me. Kudi pannutele, sir. Kovapadalama, sir. Rama said, do you think I was angry at you? I knew you would come. I knew. Patata. I knew you would come. If you would come, I wanted to ask if there is any enemy to you so that I can vanquish him. Samayaniki Tagumatalade Hare Ramachandra Raghukulesha Mrudu Subhasha Sesha Shayana Paranari Soda Raja Viraja Durakaraja Rajanudani Ramaya Parana Sarasi. Tyagaraja says Samayaniki Tagumatalade. Rama got angry. Occasion 1. Occasion 2. I told you some time back, I think 12.5 minutes back, that Rama got one Ratham with the Sarathi from Indra. Before that Ratham had arrived, he had no chariot. That is when Hanuman said, you sit on me. I am like a vehicle. Hanumanta Vahana. So he sat. Now, when Rama was seated on Hanuman and was standing opposite the tyrant king of Lanka called Ravana, Ravana was not aiming arrows at Rama. He was aiming arrows at Hanuman. Why? Because this Vanara burnt Lanka and caused $6 billion loss. Lanka had to go to IMF. This Vanara in one night burnt the entire city. So Ravana wanted to teach Hanuman a lesson. So he started aiming every arrow at Hanuman. Rama thought, where is this arrow coming? Where is it going? Hanu? How dare Ravana, you are hurting my devotee. If you hurt me, I am okay. If you hurt my devotee, not so. So Hanuman had to bear the brunt of those sharp piercing arrows of Ravana. When his devotee got hurt, Rama started shooting Brahmastram at Hanuman. So if devotee is hurt, he gets angry. Reverse this. Rama became Krishna, who now became the Sarathi. He is not fighting. Arjuna is behind. So the shloka says, initially Bhishma was wanting to provoke Krishna, so he aimed arrows at Krishna. As Partha Sarathi, Krishna took many arrows. Then Bhishma wanted to provoke Krishna further, so he started aiming arrows at Arjuna. That is when Krishna got angry. Instead of showing your anger on me, you're showing on my dear devotee, so he jumped. Looking at him jump, Bhishma says, oh, the one who gets so perturbed when your devotee Arjuna gets hurt, instead of you taking the piercing arrows, come and kill me. Shiti vishikhato vishirunadamshaha kshataja paripluta atatayino me prasabham abhisasara madhvadartham sabhavatu me bhagavan gatir mukundaha vijayaratha kutumba attatotre. See, all our acharyas were asked one question by every journalist. Nation wants to know. Every journalist will ask one question. They went and asked one great acharya called Sadashiva Brahmendra. He was born in the state of Tamil Nadu, a great Advaita scholar. They went and asked him, Sarji, how do you wish to see the Lord? Who captivates your eyes? He said, Sarvam Brahmamayam. Everything that I see around me is Brahman. But you have to tell me someone who captivates your heart, Brahmendra ji. Brahmendra said, Sarvam Brahmamayam. No, I would like to know the person who steals your heart. Brahmendra said, pause your recording button. I will tell you. Bataiye. There is one face that glows like the countenance glows like the full moon. The eyes are like the petals of a newly blossomed lotus. The nose looks like the sesame flower. The lips look reddened as if the corals were made into a paste and applied over the lips. The kantham, Sujata kantham, it looks as if there is a shankam, a conch. The vakshasthalam, the chest looks so broad, made all the more radiant with the presence of the priceless gem called Kaustubham. Looking to it is Mahalakshmi, who is seated on the mole called Srivatsam. There is a beautiful garland that is strung with colorful flowers that envelops his frontal part of the body. Below his hip are those two thighs that look like banana stems, between which the Cupid god goes, Kama Rama Sthira Kadalikas Tambasambhavaniyam. Those 2 feet are so tender and soft, as if the lotus and the lilies were to compete to find which will fit the simile. His ears look so long with the resplendent gems of Makara Kundalam. And to tell you, O journalist, his hair tresses are so dark, above which is the peacock feather. That peacock feather steals his entire beauty. The journalist asked, oh, you captivated that boy? Can you say a few verses about him? Madashikhi pincha alankrita chikure mahaniya kapola vijita mukure manasa sancharare brahmani manasa sancharare. My mind goes to Krishna. Every acharya will have that interest. You go Tyagaraja, he will make it Rama. Chimalo, Brahmalo, Shiva Keshava, Dulalo, Prema Mira, Meraguchundi, Viduva Kunato Mata Sita, Rama Nannu Brovara. Rama Nannu Brovara. If you go to Swati Tirunal, he'll say, Kalita varase tu bandham kalani sima bhishita ashana jwalada Dashakanthavidaram atidhiram jwalana puta janaka suta sahitayata saketam vilasita pattabhishekam vishwapalam padmanabham. For him, everything was Ananta Padmanabha of Thiruvananthapuram. For him, Ishtadevata was Padmanabha. You go to Bhattatri, every point he'll come back to Guruvayur. That will be his Ishtadaivam. Guruvayur Egadashi Toluvan Pogumbol Varikattuga Narayana Rubam Hari Narayana Rubam Talarumbol Atmavam Pashuve Ninnavil Amirdam Boluriduga Narayana Namam Hari Narayana Namam. For Bhattatri, Poondanam, Anantarama Dikshitar, it was all Guruvayurappan. For Vedanta Deshika, it was Krishna. Adharahita Charuvamsha Nala Makutalambi Mayura Pinchamala Harinila Shila Vibhangalila Pratibhasantu Mama Antimaf Prayane. My last journey, I should have one boy who should hold me by his fingers and walk by the bamboo trees that float below the waters of Yamuna and take me to Vaikuntham. Every Acharya will have one Ishtadevata. Now, Bhishma gives his Ungal choice, Pepsi Ungal choice. Vijayaratha Kutumba Attatotre. Krishna, what should be my final vision when I die? You should be holding the reins of the horses. You should be having one eye on me and one eye on Arjuna. Arjuna should be standing with his hands folded in a bent position as a Sishya. You should hold the reins on one hand and have the Chin Mudra as Gita Acharya. As you explain Bhagavad Gita to him, with one eye you should look at me. And that very second my Jivatma should exit. Vijaya Ratha Kutumba Attatotre Dhrita Haya Rashmini Tachriye Kshaniye Bhagavati Ratirastume Mumorshorya Nirikshya Hatagata Swarupam Lalita Gati Vilasa Valguhasa Pranaya Nirikshana Kalpitorumanaha Kritamanu Kritavatya Unmadandha Prakriti Magaman Kila Yasya Gopavadvaha. Krishna, these flashes come to my mind, says Bhishma. You were sitting in the middle of Gopika Stris. See, Krishna Avataram is bhakti. That Gopika Stris and the Gopas of Gokulam and Vrindavanam, they have never been to a school. They have not touched any Veda or Vedanta. They were completely illiterate, unread, uneducated, whatever name you wish to call, you call. But there is one beautiful instance in Bhagavatam. Krishna leaves them from Vrindavanam and goes back to Mathura. He strikes a friendship with a person called Uddhava. Uddhava was Gishpati Putra, Brihaspati Putra. Both of them become very good friends. So much so that when you start living with a person for quite some time, you start behaving like each other. Mami நேத்து நீங்க உபன்யாசத்துக்கு வரலையே, அவர் வரலேன்னுட்டார். அவர் வரலேனா நானும் வர மாட்டேன். அவர் சாப்பிடுறாரா? இல்ல, அது நீங்க சாப்பிடுவேன். இல்லையா? So here Uddhava, who was very close to Krishna, started aping Krishna. He started resembling Krishna. His characteristics were very, very typical of Krishna. So much so that people used to get confused. Is it Krishna or Uddhava? Vaniya, Raniya. They'll get confused. So that said, Uddhava developed little arrogance in himself. That I am like Krishna, I behave like Krishna. Now Krishna sensed this. He wanted to keep Uddhava grounded. So he said, Uddhava, I had promised the Gopika Stris that I will be visiting them in Vrindavanam. Can you go on my behalf? So he was extremely happy. He's representing Krishna. So he went. The moment the Ratham entered Vrindavanam, from a distance the Gopikas could not distinguish. They thought this was Krishna. So one got Mysore Pak. One got Akkaravadisil. Have you heard of Akkaravadisil? Okay. Pootarekulu Telisa? Yes. எல்லாம் யாருக்கு பூத்தரேக்குழு தெரியாது. பூத்தரேக்குழு தெரியலேதா? ஓ, only Telugu people know. See, there's a starch like material that you make a dosa like structure with. Then you add at least a few gallons of ghee on it and put sugar or jaggery and some dry fruits and roll it. You can see Vaikuntham in it. అది ఆ మధురం, ఆ ప్రసాదం, వైకుంఠ ప్రసాదంకి పేరు పూతరేకులు. కాకినాడ కాజా, బందర్ లడ్డు, మైసూర్ పాక్. లెట్స్ గో టు మహారాష్ట్ర, పూరన్ పోళి. లెట్స్ కమ్ టు తమిళనాడు, అదిరసం, మనోహరం. మనోహరంలో என்னன்னு கேட்டார், మనోహరం మారుత తుల్య వేగం. You go to Kolkata. Anybody from Kolkata here? Oh, nobody? No? Yaran liya? Okay. Oh. ধনো ধানো পুষ্পে ভরা অময় তীরে বসুন্ধরা, তাহার মাঝে আছে দেশ এক সকল দেশের সেরা, সে যে স্বপ্ন দিকে দিয়ে তৈরি সে দেশ স্মৃতি ঘেরা, এমন দেশটি কোথাও খুঁজে পাবে না কু তুমি, সকল দেশের রানী সে যে অমর জন্মভূমি, সন্দেশ গুড়ের রসগোল্লা. So now these women, Gopika Stris, they assumed Uddhava to be Krishna and started feeding him. They didn't even let him speak. They flushed, they just put all these sweets into his mouth. Krishna have this, Krishna have that. Uddhava shed tears. He said, I thought I am devoted to Krishna. Look at these people. They didn't even check if I was Krishna. Just because I looked like Krishna, they have bhakti. That time Bhattatri writes in Narayaniyam, Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshitana shrutava kim shastraugaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. I've never seen or heard of bhakti like this. Gopikabhyo namostu. Bhishma now says, there is a flash which comes in front of my eye, Krishna. I can see the gopikas and the gopas playing with you. What a beautiful flash. Lalita gati vilasa valguhasa pranaya nirikshana kalpitoru manaha kritam anukrityavatya unmadandhaha prakriti magaman kila yasya gopavadvaha. Then he says, Krishna, I get another flash while my Atma departs. Munigada nripavarya sankulentaha sadasi yudhishthira rajasuyayesham arhanamupapeda ikshaniyo mama drishi gochara gesha aviratma. When the Mahasabha of Indraprastha was constructed by Maya, the architect, in the current day Delhi was Indraprastha in those days. That is why you have Gurugram, where Dronacharya was teaching them very close. It was once a very thick forest. Now when the Rajasuya Yajnam happened, all of them attended. That time, everybody said the first puja should be done to Bhishma. He was the overlived person, the Dumbledore of those days. But Bhishma said, when Krishna is in this sabha, nobody else can even be accorded the respects. Do respects to Krishna. Sahadeva was extremely elated. He came, he got the pattam, because whenever you have to take a silk cloth and you tie it around the head of the person to give respect. It's called parivattam. So you tie that, you gave that crown, and then people were elated. That is when Bhishma says, I get that flash in front of my eyes. Samadhigatosmi vidhudi bhedamohaha. As he was thinking of Krishna as Parthasarathi, as Gopika Vallabha, Bhishma's, now he is on the bed of arrows. The shloka was told before, he is re-narrating it, and as he sees Krishna on the bed of arrows and meditates on him, they see the Atma exiting the body. That time, Krishna sheds tears. Rukmini asks Krishna, why are you shedding tears? You generally make others cry. Niyandapa ni adare. He says, Jnaninaha alpi bhavanti sharatalpa gato bhishmaha Rukmini. When Bhishma is gone, there will be a scarcity of learned people on earth. He is the last of the learned persons. Sharata Jnaninaha alpi bhavanti. He says there will be no more learned people. He is the last one. Why are you crying? I am thinking of him. I will see him elsewhere. So Bhishma's Atma exits. Iti bhita prajadrohat sarvadharma vivatsaya tato vinashanam pragat yatra deva vratopatat. So here he says, now Bhishma's Atma exits. Now finally the body, last rites have to be performed, Antyeshti. For that you need fire. So how do we get the fire? See, we cannot do that. One matchbox or lighter. It cannot come. So technically for the man or for his first legally wedded wife, the fire has to come from Agnihotram. So only a married man was allowed to perform a three-time work called as Agnihotram, morning, afternoon, evening. So that fire has to be used for burning. Remember, you cannot use an external fire to burn a person. You have to have the fire of the Agnihotram that person has performed. And what is the criteria to perform Agnihotram? Just now I said, married. Krishna tells Yudhishthira, go get the fire from Bhishma's Agnihotram and perform the last rites. What is the corollary? Bhishma was married. Because he had that. See, this is where we need to understand Shastram from our Acharya's perspective. If we go by abridged version, translation, we will get lost. Let's go back to Bhishma's life. When he promised, what did he say? Adya brahmacharyam va. From today I will be a brahmachari. Said just like that slip of the tongue, sir. No, Vyasa will not report that wrongly. See, he says, from January 1st, I won't smoke. Corollary is, till yesterday he was smoking. Why will a non-smoker put a resolution, I will not smoke? Correct. அம்மா நான் இன்றிலிருந்து புகைப்பிடிக்க மாட்டேன். அடே நேற்று வரைக்கும் புகைப்பிடிக்கவில்லை. அஷடே இடியா யாராவது பேசுவா? So Bhishma said, from today I will practice brahmacharyam, celibacy. Which means something happened before. That is called samavartanam in Shastram. Remember this point. Don't pounce. Some people, they get so very sentimental. No, sir. I've heard my grandmother say that he was brahmachari. Mukesh Khanna was also brahmachari. In Nyaya Shastram, you have to listen to the lines very carefully. Translations will not do justice. Take this in writing. But what to do? We don't know Sanskritam. Vyasa didn't know English. So we have to depend on translation written by somebody from Columbia University. Where did that person learn? From some other person. So we are all dependent on multiple versions. So we get lost. That Adya word is very important. From today. Then what is it, sir? Understand this. I'll just take 2 minutes of yours. If you pay attention, you can understand. From the attire of a person in the ancient society, the marital status could be determined. If the same dhoti is tied in 5 places, there are knots. It is called pancha kacham. So married men generally wear pancha kacham. Now Manyavar is stitching for everyone. But pancha kacham can be worn by married men. Chandanam can be applied only by married men. Unmarried men or women should not apply chandanam as per rule. No, sir, we are applying. No, see, in Hinduism, there is no central authority. You do, you don't do, nobody will even bother. But I am telling you what is there in the book. Married men alone can apply chandanam. Married men and women can only can eat betel leaves, chew betel leaves. Unmarried men or women cannot chew betel leaves. Sir, why, sir? These were all little allowances for people to get married. The parada vettala shaapanalya kalyanam paniko. Chandanam pottukonunga kalyanam paniko. So, till that marriage, the boy, now I am talking about one gender, the boy, undergoes Vedadhyanam, undergoes rigorous training in the Vedas, whether Swashakha, whatever Shakha, Samashakha, Rikshakha, whatever Shakha. And it is a long process. You have to study for 8-9 years Vedam. And it is not unlike engineering semester. You write exam at the end of the semester, you can forget those courses. Next year. But in Vedam, you have to remember the entire Veda at the end of 8 years. Pariksha will be given. Then you will be called a Ganapati. Now, after the Veda Dhyanam is over, there is a graduation ceremony. Like how we go to masters to do our masters, and finally that day of graduation you have to put that black coat. There will be one cap, you have to throw it at the top. That candid shot will be there. Have you seen that? So this is called Vedic graduation. It is called Samavartanam. Remember these words. You have to note it down or remember. Samavartanam. This is a Vedic graduation. So the boy has undergone rigorous training. He becomes a Samavartana student, Vedic graduation. On that day itself, they will ask him to wear Panchakacham. The girl doesn't have to be fixed. He will be given another Janeyu. Married men will have 2 sets. He will be given another set. That day itself, he is declared as having transitioned from the initial state of Brahmachari to Samavartana. But this intermediate stage, see in organic chemistry, we have something called SN2 reaction. When carbon leaves one halogen and hydrogen and has to take halogen, it's called intermediate phase. So this intermediate phase, he is called by a position called Snataka. Snataka means, confusing I don't know, I can't make it more simpler than this. This is how it is. So Snataka does not belong to the 4 ashramas: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. So the Snataka is between Brahmachari and Grihastha. It is 1.5 no chungo. What is that? 9 3/4 platform? It is somewhere in between. It is somewhere Kadavul Padi, Murgam Padi, Naduladu. So it is somewhere in the middle. But you cannot stay as a Snataka for more than 1 week. You will have to choose one of the two. Either you have to get married and become a Grihastha, or you have to become a Sannyasi, ascetic, recluse. But if you become a sannyasi, there is one deterrent. You cannot come back. See, you cannot say, I'll be a sannyasi for 1 week. I will see how things go. अच्छा नहीं है तो मैं दोबारा वापस गृहस्थ इंद्र मुदल सन्यासी मறுபடியும் திருமணம் செய்து கொண்டார்னு வராது. It's an irreversible reaction. You go become a sannyasi, you cannot come back. And if you become a sannyasi, you cannot do any activity associated with fire. You can neither cook, nor can you do Agnihotram. Sannyasi means you cannot come back. You cannot do anything dealing with fire. So essentially, sannyasi cannot do Agnihotram. Underline. You cannot remain a Snataka for more than 1 week. So essentially, on the graduation day, you will be given the dhoti and the punal. So you are going towards Grihastha. If you are not becoming a sannyasi, the only option left is to become a Grihastha. So for Bhishma, before he understood his father's love with Satyavati, the Samavartanam was over. His Brahmacharyam status was lost. He could begin Agnihotram. For that he needed a wife. So he was married. But when he understood that his father's life will be happy without him getting into a married life, he said, from today I will be a Brahmachari. Essentially, he was separated from his wife throughout his life. And he performed Agnihotram. He was married, but he performed Agnihotram. Was he a Brahmachari? No. Did he follow Brahmacharyam? Yes, because he abstained from physical relationship. So he maintained the quality of a Brahmachari, but carried the Agnihotra because he was a Grihastha. That is why he said, from today I will follow Brahmacharyam, and his Agnihotra fire was used for burning his mortal body. This is told by Kumarila Bhatta, one great practitioner, and Bhagavad Ramanuja in Sri Bhashyam. So the last rites were performed for Bhishma with his own Agnihotra Agni. But he didn't have children, so Yudhishthira went in that position and performed the final rites with the same fire of Agnihotra which Bhishma had performed. So Bhishma's Atma left thinking of Krishna. So Krishna Avataram, Bhishma Stuti. In Bhagavatam, Krishna Avataram comes in Dashamaskandam. But Bhishma Stuti comes in the Prathamaskandam. First skanda itself you get Bhishma Stuti. So Bhishma Stuti is an emotional appeal and description as told by Bhishma, lying on the bed of arrows to his beloved Yudhishthira, reminiscing the past where he saw Krishna jump towards him on the day of Yuddham to kill. What happened after that, sir? I'll finish that. Then Arjuna said, Krishna, why do you get angry like this? Come back. I will fight my grandfather. You should not have a bad name of breaking your promise. I will fight. Then Krishna said, if your intent is truly to fight, then I will help you. What was that help? Immediately dialed Shikhandi. Shikhandi was a eunuch who was the previous Janma Ambopakhyana, the daughter of Kashi, who had vowed to kill Bhishma. But unable to kill, there is another thing like that, theirs. Non-binary, non-binary, that Shikhandi became the cause of Bhishma's death. Because Bhishma had a vow that he will not aim any arrow which is non-male. So there was Arjuna, but Shikhandi. So he couldn't aim that side. That is when Krishna said, shoot. But Arjuna asked, see, when he is not fighting me, how can I fight? Is it dharma? Krishna asked, very valid questions. You should have asked the same thing to him when Draupadi asked for help. When your wife asked for help, he didn't help. That was adharmam. So for adharmam, you have to win through adharmam. Krishna's rule was very, very ruthless. You may say Krishna was adharmika. He said, you give whatever name you want to me. I am least bothered. I have to win the war. It is against adharma. They fought an adharmika war. I will do it this way. This you cannot apply the rules as per Article 54F and all. Doesn't in Krishna. He'll say that book is not retrievable. That book got corrupt. Pata nahi ki wo book kidhar gaya. Rule book itself went missing. So Bhishma's vadham happened. So Bhishma Stuti is filled with bhakti. So much so that there is a Sri Vaishnava parampara in Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam called Ahobila Matham. In Ahobila Matham, there was the great Acharya who lived roughly 80 years back. He was the 42nd Peethadipati called Injimed Talishingar. He belonged to a village called Injimed. He used to recite Bhishma Stuti every day without fail. For him, Bhishma Stuti used to bring tears in his eyes. So Bhishma Stuti is a beautiful stuti, a small stuti. Those of you who wish to learn, attend to Bhishma Stuti in Google. You will find first skandam of Bhagavatam. It is there. So to this beautiful Bhishma Stuti, Kelvi, question. So to this Bhishma Stuti, let's pay our obeisances. And before I conclude, there will be two questions that Vasamati ji will handle. I'll quickly answer them. Then I'll conclude with a Mangalam and you can leave. So then I've got 2 more lectures, Friday, Saturday at Canberra, then 2 days in Adelaide, and then 2 days in Perth. All are free lectures, open to all, in English. So if you have your friends, if you have your relatives who you think have the patience to sit through for 2 hours and 15 minutes, then you can tell them to attend. Don't ask me the exact address. Adelaide Cross Street, Adelaide Main Road, Adelaide. We'll அப்புறம் பண்ணலாம்.
How did Valmiki ji know about every single incident and conversation that happened across various characters in Ramayana?
So Rama was married while he was running 11 to Sita, who was age 6. After their marriage, they lived happily in Ayodhya for 12 years. So Rama was turning 25, Sita was 18. That is when he was asked to go to the forest. When they returned from the forest, he was 39, Sita was 33. And 2 years after their marriage, Sita became pregnant while she was 35 and he was 41. At that point in time, in her first trimester, she was sent to the forest. Valmiki escorted her. He had certain doubts. Brahma appeared and said, what do you wish to do? I wish to record the events of Rama's life, which has already happened. That is when he said, Hastam amalakam gata. Like the gooseberry that is clearly visible to the naked eyes which lies on the palm, so will the incidents that have occurred in Rama's life be visible to your yogic vision and you will be able to record. So the age of Rama was around 41 at that point in time when he recorded, and with Brahma's grace he was able to record. So it was not But Valmiki was very much a part of the Ramayana because in Ayodhya Kandam, he was in Chitrakuta and Rama visited. So there is a place. Next question.
Can karma be reversed by prayaschittam or parihara?
Karma, see, I think I've answered this. See, karma is an action. At the end of the day, whether we are cognizant of that karma or not, of our previous janmas, we have to bear the brunt of it, whoever it is. Often we are asked, why should I bear the brunt of karma that I have performed in my previous janma? We ask this question only when we suffer. We don't ask it when we are happy. We don't ask, why am I enjoying all these pleasures? What karma I have done in my previous birth? Only when we suffer, we ask. So, hypocrisy can be stopped only when you start asking when you are happy, or when you stop asking when you suffer. Second is prayaschittam, Vedokta prayaschittam. Vedam itself talks about certain prayaschitams, like Payovratam, Kritsram, so on and so forth. It can help mitigate the intensity of our sufferings, but it cannot take away the sufferings. So, see, for example, when I speak of Krishna or Rama for those 2 hours, trust me, whatever problems I have in my life, I forget and I speak. When you are seated as well for those 2 hours of Krishna Charitram or Rama Charitram, you slowly forget those worries. But just because you have listened to those 2 hours, it doesn't mean when you finish and go, the problem will go away. The problem will remain. Just that for 2 hours, you were able to comfortably get oblivious of it. So, prayaschittam can help mitigate. That is why I gave you the example of 100 Fahrenheit fever will be 99.99. But still 99.99 is fever. You will have that fever, 0.01. See, for example, when it is 43 degrees Celsius and you don't have fan, you will be sweating. But when that fan comes, you will feel that little solace. But 43 will remain as 43 till that fan is there. So, the karma has to be suffered. This is the truth. If someone says by prayaschittam, all your worries will go away, trust me, I'm being very blunt, that person is actually cheating you. In Sanatana Dharma, we believe in our karma. We have to suffer. But in between all these sufferings, we seek solace through Krishna and Rama. That's all. This is all I can say. I can always give you all kind of concocted answers. Yes, there is one prayaschittam, take one blue color blouse. I can do all of this. But this is not what my acharyas have taught me. So how much ever Ramanuja suffered, how much ever Vedanta Deshika suffered, they took it at their stride. And they suffered. We should always look up to them. Purma?
Last one. Can you advise kids and parents how to develop bhakti in this fast world?
If I use the word advice, I will be guillotined like the days of French Revolution. So, I am too primitive a mortal, too small a person to advise. I am smaller a person to even recommend. But if you put weapons around my neck and say, I coax you to say, then with all humility, I can just say 1 or 2 things with submission. 1, your regular karma, that whatever is ordained for your varna, you have to do. Second, parents and grandparents who happen to stay with children should become somewhat inspirations to their own children. When you listen to Bhagavatam, when you listen to Ramayanam, don't force the child and say, sit and listen. Don't do that. Let's say some Vidwan is speaking. Let's say you keep a video of mine. Don't say, sit and listen. No. You do your work. Let the father do his work. Let the mother do her work. Let the child do. But when you listen, there are certain occasions which will be applicable to you. So your ears will rise. I think he's telling something which is I like. So listening should come very passionately. You cannot force. That forced listening will never help. And trust me, you may think your children are not listening when you play something. They are very smart. They'll actually listen, but they may not give you that reaction as if they're listening. Then later they'll tell you, yeah, that person told me that day he was telling, right? Oh, you heard that? Even I didn't listen. You may end up saying, so children are actually very smart. Let's agree that every generation that comes, the gap is very little and the IQ level is super high. I can't even answer some of the questions that they ask. Shiva beheaded Ganesha, yes. That hell fell down, yes. Then Vishnu came and attached the head of elephant on him, yes. Why didn't he attach the same fallen head? Then I have to think. What is up? So the questions that they come up with is very good. And of course, don't discourage them. Don't say that you're not allowed to ask questions. As long as you affiliate yourself to Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, you're absolutely permitted to ask questions. You can be rest assured you'll be living if you ask question. But just because children, of course there are some youngsters here, my only humble submission is, you ask questions, don't ask with the intent of, putting the other person to a corner. If I ask this, you see how this person will not be able to answer. No, that's not the right intent of asking. Why do you want to put the other person in a spot? You want to get your doubts cleared, ask. And trust me, if the person standing opposite you may not know the answer, if that person is not able to answer, know that that person is not able to answer. Don't think there is no answer. Some people think if the person standing opposite me can't answer, there is no answer. No. There will be an answer to that question. Patiently wait. Your karma will guide you in such a way that one day you will get an answer to that question. It will come in a direct way or an indirect way. Wait for that day. Do not assume that there is no answer to that question. This concept of, I am more intelligent than Valmiki and Vyasa should go. Why didn't Valmiki speak about Urmila? She was also sacrificing. Why didn't he do? He is the author. He has the right to choose what he wants to tell. You cannot tell him what he has to tell. Just because he has not spoken about Urmila, it doesn't make him patriarchal. He has spoken about Sita. If he has not spoken about Urmila, it means that she is not relevant to that part of the storyline. Why didn't he speak about Urmila? Why didn't he speak about Mandavi? He is the author. He has the right and he exercises that right what to speak and what not to speak. You have the audacity to recite those verses without a mistake in your pronunciation, then prove your mettle. Questioning should come out of humility, not from arrogance. That arrogance will never give you that answer. So question, but do it with humility. If you don't get the answer, wait till you get that answer. You will get it. Okay, now if you stay for 2 minutes, the organization and the Astikas which wish to felicitate have to talk, which is the Hindu school that's going to come up in Sydney. The Astikas, the volunteers of this Hindu school, have kept their objectives very succinct and beautiful, where they feel that alongside giving modern education, which we all are recipients of, there should also be a judicious combination of the learnings or the teachings of our past. So they are coming up with the concept of the Hindu school. There is this entire committee. Irkala va? So there are members from the Hindu school who are taking up this initiative. They solicit a lot of manpower, moral support, financial support, and so on and so forth. So there are members from the Hindu school here. So those of you who wish to be a part of this beautiful medley of the modern education and the learnings from the past, may please get in touch with them. It's a wonderful initiative in such a beautiful land of Australia. I'm sure there'll be people who'll benefit out of it. As mentioned at the commencement, I'm extremely thankful to the Sydney Andal group, because I told you, it's a weekday. And the organizers have this worry, weekend will only work. How will youngsters come? And we did no marketing. And on the other hand, I have one very adamant rule. Whichever country I go, wherever I go, for me, weekday is not different from a weekend. I will speak. Let people come. If they are busy, it's okay. You can play it on YouTube and let them learn it later. So I'm on a tour of 21 days, 21 lectures, 8 cities. So I began in Auckland, Wellington, Brisbane, Melbourne, Bhagavata Saptaham, then here, then I'm going to Canberra, Adelaide and Perth. So 8 cities, 7 flights, 21 lectures, 21 days. So I honestly believe that Astikas across cities, they plan their work schedule and school schedule really well, and they make time and come. See, it's out of 365 days, 2 days you have to come at 5:30. I'm sure people can manage their time. It's because of your scholastic achievements in academics and professional life that you have risen to all these posts. Planning 1 hour ahead, you can never blame it on traffic. To Vaikuntham also there is traffic. Don't think there are very few of us. Many people are going to Vaikuntham. There's traffic everywhere, and I come from Bangalore, the mother of all. So, traffic, family, children, classes, people can manage 2 days a year. And that too after a hiatus of about 3 or 4 years, I've had the opportunity to come. People will plan. So the organizers were rest assured that at least Bhagavan will bring a few. But they were quite very thankful, indebted, honored and humbled to see people across ages, people across communities, people across languages attending these 2 days of lectures on behalf of the organizers. I sincerely thank each one of you for being present throughout the duration. I know that I have to stick to my time. Yesterday, I went 15 minutes late. Today, I started 10 minutes early and I'm ending 10 minutes late. But at the bottom of my heart, I feel that I need to follow the Indian Standard Time. So, I'm sure I'm not asking for a pound of flesh closest to your heart without a drop of blood. I'm not the Shylock. So I just ask for the iota of mercy with which you will forgive me for going time aboard for this. Thanks once again. They will do the felicitation in just 1 minute, and then 1, 2, 3, I'll do the Mangalam and then you can leave. One go. நான் எழுந்துக்க முடியாது ஏன்னா வியாச அடி
வேதா சங்கிரஹண்யேஷ்ட்யாய ஜதே இமான் ஜனதாகும் சங்கிரஹ்ணானீதி द्वादशरश्मिरशना भवति द्वादशमासाः संवत्सरः संवत्सरमेवावरुन्धे मूञ्जी भवति ऊर्ध्वै मुञ्जा ऊर्जमेवावरुन्धे चित्रा नक्षत्रं भवति चित्रं वा एतत्कर्म यदश्वमेधः समृद्ध्यै रोचनो रोचमानः शोभनो शोभमान कल्याणः.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all the organizers again. Of course, it's my personal appeal that they have made this event free. There are donations are welcome. The volunteers are there. Those of you who wish to know the updates from Sydney Andal Goshti will have volunteers there with whom you can register your numbers or email IDs. Thank you once again. कवितार्किक सिंहाय कल्याण गुणशालिने श्रीमते वेंकटेशाय वेदांत गुरवे नमः. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः. गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभम् अस्तु नित्यं. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. जानकीकान्तस्मरणं गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं